All right, all right. Mr. Thaddeus T. Mountain Walker the First. How are you, sir? Good, good. It's been a while since we've had you on. It's been a while. Been a minute. But yes, it is Friday. It is 9:30. Ghost is late because Ghost was getting dinner. And Ghost decided after dinner he was going to walk off some of said dinner. And therefore, Ghost is late. That's right. I am late yet heterosexual, but not muted. So, we are thus. Of course, let's get everyone let's get all their pieces arranged. Mountain Walk, he's got his nice little avatar there in front of his little chair. I had to move stuff around the other day, but I will move people back to their appropriate place. Maybe you are already moved back. It's already. Oh no, I gotta move Geeky back to his Kirby chair. Oh, so certified nerd moment. I suppose. Oh, I'm still wearing my Harry Potter gear. Oh, oh no! I realize this. That I'm still wearing it. We can ditch the armor though. I will ditch the armor. Hat on. I suppose. But yes, Mountain Walk. How has your week been? How you doing? Much working. All right, all right. Yeah, that's pretty much what I've been doing. Just working, having a good time. Oh man, it's ate so much food today. You ever? It was Korean barbecue, and so I was like, oh man. No, it's like I was like, it was with my. How come no one else is here? Because they're late, Emmanuel. They're late. That's but no, it's funny. It's like I was there with one of my friends. He's a executive at a company. I won't say. But he makes good money, and I make good money. So we're like, bring us your most expensive menu. So yeah, no, I ate like 5 steaks there. It was good. Oh, steaks. Ate some scallops. I had a good time. Had a very good time. But yes, what's going on this week? I've been so freaking busy. Oh yeah, there have you seen this? That NATO is gonna try to color revolution Viktor Orban out of Hungary. Have you seen this? Yeah, what's her name? Victoria Newland is over in Hungary right now. You know, let me find this article. He's not joining the NATO. He's kind of not trying to escalate the war against Russia. Because that's kind of his backyard. Um, so he's in. No, sorry, Samantha Powers. Samantha Powers is in Hungary, discussing seating of the NGOs and political activist systems in order to generate yet another color revolution. So look, I'm sure I don't agree 100% with Viktor Orban, but he's he's the guy the people of Hungary elected, so I hope he does not get ousted. But the talk is in the deeper weed sector is that they're going to try to Ukrainify Hungary, which would not be a wise decision overall, if you know what I mean. That Yeah, no, that would if my leaders would listen to me, I know they won't. But if they did, I'd be like, hey guys, can we not? Like, can can we not? You're back. Had to switch accounts. Is this Geeky or is it Manuel, Mister the Bean Beater? The bean knows assaulting beans, I suppose. Um, Yeah, yeah, no. So hopefully, the prime minister of Hungary won't be ousted by various NGOs and it's E. It's E. E. E pluribus unum? Like, what? I'm, I suppose. Okay. What else? What? Oh yeah, there was the Orange Man visited East Palestine. You saw that, right? Orange Man went to East Palestine, and once again, this is like a genius optics move. Like absolutely brilliant. Like, and the timing is perfect too. It's like what's Joe doing right now? I'm in Ukraine, promising undying support and money. Okay. What's Orange Man doing? I'm going to talk to the people affected by this rail accident. Americans. It's like a perfect encapsulation of elite politics. Like, yeah, you all care about Ukraine, right? You wanna help this foreign dictator keep control of his country, right? That banned all of his political opposition. That's banning free expression. That's banning all this shit, right? Like that's freedom, right? No, no, that's not. That's what the WEF thinks freedom looks like because it's just a meaningless word platitude that you put there. Yeah. Not that I'm gonna go and be like Vladimir Putin is the ultimate defender of freedom. No, that's not the case. But that doesn't just because Vladimir Putin's invading their country doesn't make Vladimir Zelensky not like a dictator or a power hungry monster on the level of Abraham Lincoln. Like, are you kidding me? Like, arresting journalists. Remember, it's only wrong to arrest journalists if they get into our our global alignment or whatever you wanna say, right? But like, remember Jamal Khashoggi? Not even an American citizen. They were all freaking out. It's like he's an American. He's employed by an American journalist organization, so he's not an American, but he's employed by him. Like what? What? It's foreigners murdering their own citizen. I mean, like it's not good. I'm not gonna be like ha 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 ha, but like like I mean, what do you want me to do? Okay. Yeah, I mean, does this mean that we give them a blank, endless check? Like, yeah, I think it was Tucker. He was talking about all the stuff that this could pay for. All the money we're sending to Ukraine. Like, and I was like, yeah, I don't really agree with any of those social programs. But you know what? I also don't agree with having a fucking interest payment that's bigger than the size of my economy. So I'm in an endless debt spiral. That's bad because they're gonna just print money forever, and any resources and shit I've accumulated are gonna become worthless. But, what are we talking about? Oh, the war in Ukraine, Mr. Bean. Talking about. There was an opinion poll out of Russia this week. And how are you doing, Yellow Lantern? Exactly, exactly. But there's a new opinion poll out of Russia, and it says that they've only lost 5% support for the war in Ukraine since being 80% in March and only down to 75%. Seems like the biggest dip was when they announced partial mobilization. I guess they were all like, holy shit, whoa, 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 don't draft me. Whoa, whoa, whoa. But, now that it's like, okay, they've got who they need. They're not going to draft me. It's like, all right, fine, whatever. It's not my problem. But yes, 75%. The unprovoked war of aggression, yes. Unprovoked war of aggression, yes. I know, but it's an unprovoked war of aggression officially. There are combatants, and they announced they're invading, and they came up with some invading to steal territory. I mean, Like they're invading them to steal territory and get landlock the country. I mean, that's what is happening. I know how it feels, Geek. I know how it feels, Yellow Lantern. I know how it feels. Okay, this isn't new to me. I mean, I honestly agree with outlawing Russian language in your country. I don't think you should be forced to accommodate foreigners in your country. Make people. I know, but they're part of Ukraine. I mean, like, if you want to complain, you can go back to Khrushchev. But like, it's their country. They can decide their rules. Like, I mean, is there any law saying we have to venerate Russian people because we used to be part of the Soviet Union? I mean, like, it's their country. They can do what they want with it. But they never ratified them, right? But they dissolved them, right? Shocked, I say. You're telling me you took the strong man out of the room and all of a sudden. I mean, Vladimir Putin could have chosen not to invade. I mean, clearly he gave an order at the highest level and said, "Hey, we're invading." I mean, he could have not done that. Forced? What do you mean forced? It's people that he has no obligation to. I mean, it's literally just a bunch of foreigners as far as like nationality goes. I mean, they're not part of his country. Well, when he invaded Crimea. Like, I mean, yes, the world sanctioned him because he carved off a piece of another person's country and stole their land. I mean, like, yeah, of course they sanctioned him. But Crimea was part of Ukraine. Now, was it autonomous like Taiwan is autonomous, or autonomous like Catalonia is autonomous? What level of autonomy? I don't think I don't think Taiwan is pressing Mongolian land claims, but you may be right. That'd be amazing. Yeah, not only are we not part of you, we fucking own you. Yeah, yes, we all did see that. This is they're not smart people. But some people have called this World War Reddit, because literally Western Alliance saying we're literally fighting to have the better story. Uh, got Russia and Israel teaming up in Syria. I mean, this is all the stream's going to be about? No, well, there'll be other topics. It's just, it's good to start World War III. It's kind of important. Don't think Ukraine can threaten Russia even with HIMARS. I mean, like at all. I don't think Ukraine can legitimate. I don't even think anyway that Ukraine can legitimately threaten Russia at all. Don't think that would even threaten Russia at all. We have NATO border states with Russia as already. We could put change just because it's Ukraine. I mean, like we have NATO neighbors of Russia already. Like we could put nukes there tomorrow. Not gonna put nukes in Russia. Like they're not going. No, Ukraine can't threaten Russia at all. The height of paranoia to think we could. I mean, yeah, I don't think that's happening. And I don't think that's a legitimate, reasonable threat anyway. Like it's not. Like we have NATO border states already that we could put nukes in tomorrow. Like we don't need Ukraine to do this. Wait. Do you accept that there aren't NATO border states that we could literally put nukes in that are literally on Russia's border? But this is my point. Like, what difference does it make if it's Ukraine or the other NATO border states? Like, I don't understand. What, you think there's just going to be a traditional battle line push into Russia? But do you think that's even feasible in modern combat? Like modern combat, modern anti-air systems, like what are you talking about? Like but if the US invaded Russia, China would assist Russia like 100%. Like there's no doubt about that China would help Russia in any conflict. Right, but this is my point though. Like there is no threat to Russia because China would not let the U.S. put a puppet in Russia. Like that would be not be beneficial for them. But that would be if they invaded Russia, they would put an American friendly puppet there, and China wouldn't let that happen. They would send assistance like they did in Vietnam and Korea, right? Like, well, no, they've expanded massively to Europe, and they do tons of business with Europe, tons of business with Russia and India. Right? I don't think having an American puppet in Russia is in China's geostrategic interest. They have manpower, resources, and ability to provide weapons for years, right? What does it matter what our foreign policy could be? I mean, like this is the reality. The reality is that Ukraine cannot threaten Russia. No, it can't. But how? How? How does that force regime change? Yes, 50 years ago, 60 years ago. Well, I mean, are they ICBMs if they're in Cuba? But I mean, they're not really intercontinental, right? You'd have closer range nukes there. Right? 60 years ago. I don't know, wanting to shatter the CIA or the Federal Reserve. Pretty good things he could have done if he wasn't killed by the CIA. I mean, oh yeah, no, like don't be wrong. I mean, Kennedy was a junkie, drug addict, and various other things. But I mean, if he had followed through on even a tenth of what they said, would have been transformative. Oh well, of course we're not certain, but I don't know when his nephew's going out there saying they did, and what we still can't say who did. Come on, you're telling me they can't figure out who killed Kennedy? You really think it's some impossible shot by some guy that was immediately killed? Like, no. The shot that was described in the Warren report was impossible. Magic bullet. Yeah, like that's impossible. Like the idea that it was one shooter that caused those injuries is impossible based on the evidence that's there, right? Obviously, yes, you could hit a shot from the window of that book depository, 100%. But the trajectory of those two different shots was impossible. Like, I'm not saying he couldn't have been killed by one person, but multiple people were clearly shooting at him. Sadly, you're probably correct. We probably will never know. Society and all the damage he caused, yeah. Yes. Thought that the offensive was going to start in the winter. I mean, I wouldn't say the war is causing their slowdown. There's more than just high energy prices, right? I feel like if you just focus and hone in on the war, you kind of miss the broader energy policy that's going on in the West in general. You're missing the more sinister aspects of their policy, to energy consumption. And the war, because of its increase in energy prices, fit the pipeline's one thing, but that pipeline wasn't active. But I'm saying in general, like central banks around the world are uniting to reduce energy consumption. The war itself is a really really beneficial outcome for this scenario because it drives up the price of fossil fuels and therefore makes energy consumption more expensive and more costly. Because that's the goal of central banks and most of Western domestic policy. So regardless of whatever happens, it doesn't matter how much territory changes, but the longer the energy prices stay higher, the longer it supports their domestic energy agenda. So it's like, yes, there's a slowdown, but a lot of this is intentional. I mean, like a lot of it's intentional. The war is just another facet of it that's kind of feeding into it. I think it's more a symptom, not the cause. More a symptom, not the disease itself. I mean, yeah, I'd say so. I mean, yeah, well, yeah. COVID's a perfect example. I mean, it was a controlled economic crash. What did George Bush say in the early 2000s? We need a controlled landing of the world. Not a crash. Well, there weren't really rate hikes before COVID as much, but there were talks about it, right? But I mean, like inflation wasn't admitted to be as bad as it was back then either. So like I don't know, it wasn't like a serious economic contraction at that time. But once COVID started and you fired a whole bunch of people, shut down the entire economy, yeah, then it was just like up. Now we're kicking us down the stairs. But nowhere near. I mean, like the economic situation has been in a shitty state for a while, but it's accelerated. If that makes sense. Oh no, the answer is this: the recession will have officially hit after they admit it later. It'll be 6 months after it happens, is when they'll admit there was a recession. I was like, oh, by the way, you were in recession, but no need. Well, when Orange Man was leader, it was like, oh, there's a 3 month slowdown. We're in a recession, guys, right away. But I don't know. They may actually admit we're in a recession sooner rather than later, just because Joe's getting jettisoned pretty soon. He's Joe's getting jettisoned. Mr. Biden is going to. I think they are trying to exit him from. They're trying to exit him from the situation. No. They're not going to kill him. I don't think. But I don't think they'll kill him. But no. I don't think they're gonna bring Kamala back. She's just. I think Kamala's gonna be not. I don't think she's gonna be a part of the equation. I don't think she's part of the future of the Democratic Party. I think she's gonna be a footnote, kind of like a Howard Dean type character or a what was that guy's name? The guy who cheated on his cancer-addled wife, John Edwards. Yeah, yeah. It'd be like a John Edwards, or on the other side, kind of like a Bob Dole, or it kind of. I think I see that's the way that or Al Gore. Al Gore's another perfect example. Someone that had a rising star. Was literally the vice president on the ticket, and then just he at least got to run for president. But I don't even think they're gonna run Kamala. I don't think she will ever lead the Democratic ticket. She lacks charisma, instinct, or any say what you will about Barack Obama, but the guy at least could go, and people will say, but the if yeah, no, I know, but he at least the combination of him and the media could give the appearance that he looked like he knew what he was talking about and was passionate about it. You know, he at least seemed inspirational, right? He was able to give off that feeling. But I am the grand healer. I'm here for you guys. We're gonna move on. Yeah, he sold it. Kamala's not that person. She's not. She's a lot like Hillary Clinton. She's very unlikable. And not just because check this box. Oh, it's a no. She's just come on. What kind of person has the instincts to say in the middle of all the defund the police BLM movement to go? I put a lot of black teenagers in jail. What? And not for violent crimes, not for gang violence, not for murder or struggle snuggling or other crimes like that. No, for drugs. Okay, I put a whole bunch of people in jail for smoking weed when literally people all across the aisle are talking about decriminalizing marijuana, and you're going out. You somehow have the sense to think it's a smart idea about taking young men off the streets for drug use. He lacks instinct, But I don't think they're going to run Gavin Newsom. I know people say that, oh, Gavin Newsom. No, come on. I live in California. Gavin Newsom could not win a national election. I don't. I honestly don't believe that he could win a national election. I don't think there's enough fortification for Gavin Newsom to win a national election. That's the thing. Like
he's running to have a really super
Maybe,
fortified
maybe,
election.
maybe you're right. Maybe you're right.
I mean, it's I wouldn't put anything past him. I mean, it's it'll be the
I
most
guess
secure
anything's
election.
possible. You know.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not really willing to write off any possibility though. At this point, we are definitely living in the simulacrum. I think at this point, so anything that's even if it just seems completely nuts or insane, it's like, well, this is just how the world is. In our simulacra of reality.
I know, but like Gavin Newsom feels too normal.
Oh, really? You think
You know,
so?
for the future, right? Like,
Oh, sure, yeah.
I don't know, but
I can see
come on,
that.
talk to the other 49 states. Everyone hates California. Even New Yorkers don't like California because it's like, oh, screw you, you're bigger than us. You know, like we're on the
Yeah,
fast track to societal destruction, but you guys are on the you guys are on the bullet train to it. Like, what the
yeah.
fuck, guys? You're
The
making
bullet
us
train,
look
yeah,
bad.
that's oof. Yeah, they're speed running the destruction of their state, I think.
Exactly. You know,
So
New York is like sprinting. We are like bobsledding.
yeah, yeah. Oof.
I,
Yeah, I don't.
I don't think Gavin Newsom. You know, everyone always says it's gonna be Michelle, and like, I don't know. Does she really?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know about that if it's going to be her or not, but shoot, I don't know. It feels like they're just kind of running out of
It's like they're trying to run Oprah, but they don't have Oprah.
right. Yeah, yeah. That's a good way to put it. Yeah,
You
they don't.
know,
They
and
don't.
no matter how much Michelle will dress herself up like Oprah, she doesn't have Oprah's charisma and energy.
Yeah, or at least like likableness or whatever. I mean, so yeah, she's not Oprah is a good way to put it. Not Oprah at all.
But oh
Yeah,
well, that's politics.
yeah,
Well, I mean, I think it's an interesting point because um I think there's a bit of the plight. I think this is also why conservatism doesn't is the belief in parliamentarian politics, even though it's basically been the administrative state for the last several decades, I believe. The less, government's not really that responsive to any sort of systems of laws or passing. It's all through indirect channels and growth of the things that have latched onto the government that has directed all the power.
Well, I mean, the executive branch has grown well beyond its mandate.
Even before
yeah,
that, in some ways,
Encroached massively into the
the
legislative
silent
edge,
coup of
right?
the Nixon administration that happened to him kind of basically made the president's office ultimately not able to deal with the quote unquote deep state.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's it feels like it's kind of like just the executive office. It feels like what's the best way to put it? It's like it grew like way past. It's like kind of like this cancerous growth, like of overreach and stuff. It's definitely not the sort of quote unquote weak, sort of branch of government that now they can just completely just declare war and take military action wherever they want. You don't even have to vote on it, right? It doesn't even matter.
They ever vote
Um,
on a war though?
well, like for example, the
You talk about the Congress, right? Needing congressional
right.
approval now. Okay,
Right.
I was about to say. I was like, I mean, the people never voted on World War One, World War Two, the Civil
Yeah.
War. I mean, like this.
Yeah. If they did, I mean, obviously, we wouldn't have been in like the First World War or the Second one. So
No, everyone would be like, yeah, fuck, who
yeah,
cares? The
yeah,
second, I don't know, if Japan, if the Japan had attacked Pearl Harbor, probably might have been able to,
yeah. I mean, even I would say it's kind of a crapshoot, but yeah, I guess I mean there was a lot more sentiment for like going to war then, right? But I mean, yeah. Anyways, that's a whole another thing. But yeah, generally, yeah, just it feels like the executive kind of just does kind of whatever it wants, right? And it's weird because like sometimes it's like, oh, maybe we'll get some good stuff, like whatever Trump does. But because like things like executive orders can't just be rolled back, like there's no real way to like sort of escape the system. You know, you can't like use its own power against it. It's always just like nope, the house always wins. So yeah. Anyways, I don't know. Just it's just pretty frustrating. Is where it's like the only thing that sticks is all the bad stuff, which just
Yeah, I
sucks.
mean, you think about the Patriot Act and various other things. It's not like there was a wide national popular approval for it. It was just it was one of
Yeah,
those like, hey, we can get away with this, right?
yeah, exactly, exactly. Oh well, but yeah. So I mean, I don't know. Who knows? Like you can just you can blow up the pipelines, whatever. Doesn't matter. Any pipeline, screw it. You know.
Yeah.
Uh,
Hey guys, you,
who
you
cares?
blew up German Russian infrastructure.
Yeah. I mean that's our one of our allies, by the way, Germany. So
I don't know,
I mean this
man.
is
I'm just saying, if these Germans go 3 for 3 in starting world wars, okay, they're done. They're done. Okay.
yeah, we got to do something about these friggin' Germans,
I'm
man.
sorry.
Every
We're done.
time.
Germany, you're done for. No more. We're out
They've
of here.
been
You're
done
done.
for a while.
You don't get to
Like,
do this anymore, Germany. We're just you get to be absorbed by Poland and all of your neighboring countries at that point. Okay, figure it out.
Like, yeah,
Don't get to
yeah.
go 3 for 3.
I mean, I think it'd be pretty amusing. Like, if I mean, obviously, like this is kind of I guess maybe literally like an act of terrorism.
No, it's a
It's
literal act of terrorism, like 100%. I
right,
mean, it's eco terrorism too. It's like
yeah,
one of the largest ecological disasters ever perpetrated
yeah,
for the
and the
sake
fact,
of stopping an inactive pipeline that isn't
yeah.
isn't even selling gas to Europe.
I mean,
I
it's
was
the
explaining this. It's like, what? Someone was trying to say Putin blew up the pipeline. I'm like, why? It's like, well, he did it. And it's like, well, dude, he could literally say, turn the valve left, and done. No more gas through the pipeline. Like what?
right.
Like,
You turn the
like
valve left. Yeah, I mean,
we right? Like we
it's
spent
insane.
all this money, resources, approval, regulatory nonsense to go through to build this fucking pipeline. Fuck it, blow it up, guys. We have total
Yeah,
control over the gas comes from us, not to us, you morons.
yeah.
uh
It's. I think that is just one of the best sort of displays of like this is our
Cognitive dissonance.
geopolitics. Well, yeah, that too. But this is I mean it's a good display of a lot of stuff, and it's just insane how like we're just literally come out and say like, oh yeah, we'll take care of it. We'll be able to fix this pipeline issue. We won't let them complete it. Then it gets blown up mysteriously, and we're like,
Yeah, yes, when you
Russia
have
did it.
leaders of US foreign policy saying that they literally will not this pipeline will not happen.
Yeah.
What do you mean, Anakin Skywalker?
What do you mean by that? What's you gonna order 66 like the pipeline
It's
or something?
literally the U.S. was literally the Anakin Skywalker beam there. The
Oh
pipeline's not
no,
happening. You mean you're just gonna like economically cancel it, right?
oh
Right?
no, not the younglings, not the younglings, Anakin.
Yep.
Ugh.
Exactly.
And
Oh, yeah.
it's just I mean the fact that we are willing to go to those lengths to pursue our like geostrategic like geopolitical goals. I mean that's I mean, obviously, like the U.S. has been doing like this kind of shit since like World War II, and sort of the reason why the First and Second World Wars are happened the way they happened. But it's still just like I don't know. I just think about it. I'm like, this is just so shocking and brazen, and it's like I mean, with friends like us, who even needs enemies? I mean, it's I mean, it was willing to let German people just freeze in their homes in the winter, just so we can keep them from becoming reliant on natural gas and energy from Russia, so we can keep them further apart. It's just it's absurd, But I mean, this is where we are. This is where we are these days. So just too much. It's just too much.
Yeah, but I don't know. We spent 45 minutes talking about this pointless conflict. So, what else happened this week?
well,
um,
Hogwarts Legacy and Atomic Heart are out, those games, and Wyatt did a another Wyatt thread came about why does a game like this feel like such a breath of fresh air compared to many other
Which game?
AAA
Atomic
games?
Heart?
Yeah.
I haven't played it yet, but I actually intend to start it this weekend because I did finish the main storyline for Hogwarts Legacy. And you know what I'll say? If you like Harry Potter, if you like the books, and you like open world WB games, go play it. Go play it.
Yes, and
Like
we
that's
kind of
kind of
mentioned
it.
this
If that's
from
your jam, right? If your jam is like Arkham Asylum and you like the Harry Potter books, you'll get a good experience out of it.
my favorite part about the I think I talked about this yesterday before is that you can learn all the three unforgivable curses
Yep,
and
I did learn all of them.
Oh,
you'll
nice.
suffer no penalty for like there's nothing in the game that will
There is no
like you'll
penalty for it.
mhm you know
I finished it. There wasn't like I got the dark ending because I learned all the unforgivable curses and used them in various battles.
yeah
Crucius is
I
the
mean
most important one.
yeah and someone I think when I brought this up to a friend he kind of had to ask so what would make them unforgivable like I understand why they'd be considered dark spells but what's so well and I pointed out it's the intent and it's also like who you use it on I mean Imperious is probably the least bad of the unforgivable because all it does is you take over somebody and basically make them do
I
whatever
feel
you
like that's
want.
the I feel like that's the worst.
That does feel like the worst one,
It
right?
kind of
I
feels
mean,
like the worst, like because like killing someone, yeah, you can't come back from being dead, but like at least you're just killing them. I mean, like Imperio mind controlling people and making them do shit, and then they have to live with it. Like Crucius is like extraordinary pain, and
the torture
like
curse, yeah.
torture, and it can make you, it can break your brain. But like at least you're still you. Imperio, you can make people do horrible things and then have to live with the consequences.
Well, the thing is, you can sort of get off like if you could legitimately prove. I remember if like you were in the Imperious curse and you casted like Avada Kedavra, you proved that you were actually being mind controlled. You can actually escape a life sentence to like Azkaban. I think that's they pointed out like it's since you really were not in control of your actions at that moment. But yeah, I would say I could see the point going
I
from
think you can
like
make a good
someone.
argument for Imperial being the worst. I understand, Avada Kedavra, just instant death, no way back from it. But still, Imperial seems like you do the worst things.
Yeah, I think yeah. Well, that's why they're all unforgivable. I think Avada Kedavra just gets straight to the point. It's the quickest and well, possibly least painful of the three. But it's probably some people would say it's the evilest because like the that won't work on like you use that curse because you want to kill someone. Like that's the only reason that you would ever cast that curse, and you have to mean it. And I think it's intense. Like some people might have good intentions with the Imperia curse, be like, "Oh, he's in a lot of pain. He doesn't want to go through this thing. I'll just use this so that all of a sudden all the stress is released from his mind, and he's able to just do whatever I can tell him to, or him, or That's kind of because someone said like the feeling of the Imperious curse is like all your restraints and all your anxieties are released because you don't need to worry about them. And Cruciatus curse falls in between both because, well, you're being tortured, and
I mean, you can torture people into breaking their brain, as it did with the long bottoms.
hmm And in the game, I know I've seen some footage. Cruciatus gives like a damage over time effect.
It's a
When
damage amp, basically.
Imperio makes your enemies attack each other, I
They fight
guess.
for you, basically, yeah. And
Mm,
Avada Kedavra does what Avada Kedavra does,
Instant
instant kill.
kill. Yeah. Probably one of the few times I've ever seen where the player has an insta kill attack, but there's obviously it has the longest. I'm probably sure it might have the longest cooldown.
Does, but you can get a dark magic buff where everyone affected by curses, if you hit one of them with Avada Kedavra, it kills everyone that's cursed. That's the curse debuff.
That is super sweet.
Oh
That
yeah,
is
yeah. Because the Crucius curse upgrade that you get in Dark Magic is that every time you hit someone with Crucius, it spreads. And so if you combo that with a Vada Kedavra, you can insta kill like a bunch of them.
That's awesome. I didn't know this new Harry Potter game was so sweet. That sounds super sweet.
Yeah, no, it's pretty cool. Like the fighting's pretty good in it.
Yeah, it looked pretty interesting. I've heard like, obviously, other than the random like, I don't know, controversy or whatever, obviously just due to J.K. Rowling because she's J.K. Rowling or whatever and says
You
naughty
know,
things on the
it's kind of
internet.
weird how the thing turned around now. People used to dislike her because she would always add unnecessary, like, retroactive continuity that just made no sense,
Right.
and she would constantly change. Now she's hated because she's not really she doesn't like the transgenderism phenomenon. Not necessarily because of reasonable, like, objections from both the ideological perspective and, well, biological. It's more about, some people would say it's more about they are stealing away oppression points or like status symbolism from people who call themselves feminists. I feel like that's probably more motivation, even if it's probably a it doesn't need to be the principled stand of like things just to dislike something that does appear to have harmful effects. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's just people looking for dopamine rush of feeling righteous.
Plus, then
Right.
it's
A lot of
I
these
just
people
like
wanna feel like they want to be marching in Selma right now, when really they're just dancing to the tune of whatever corpo movement.
go figure that given the constant thing. I mean, and the gameplay's fine. I mean, I've heard people say it's basically like a open world. You said it was an open world Warner
It's an
Brothers like
open
game.
world action adventure RPG,
Was
and
it kind
light
of
on the
like
RPG,
Shadow of
very light on
Mordor?
the RPG elements. Sorry.
And
Like the levels give you talents, and the talents basically are just like they can change how you interact with like your stealth spells, your actual spells, your curses. So it's very light on the RPG elements. The combat is fun and snappy, and it's kind of got a little rock paper scissors to it, right? There are three different kinds of
Mm-hmm.
spells. I try to remember how they define them, but like transfigure, transform, and levitate is one category. Accio and like Flipendo and those like movement spells are another category. And then all the Incendio, the fire spells, and like Bombard, all that. That's like they're red. They're like offensive spells, and certain enemies have shields that you have to hit them with the matching spell type to weaken them. The unforgivable curses are their own category as well. They
Sweet.
don't. There's no shield for them. And then there's ancient magic, which is like your combo magic, I guess. So that like you build up like ancient magic by building up your combo, and then you can basically cast not one hit. It can be one hit kills if your ancient magic is buffed enough, but like really powerful
Mm-hmm.
spells that break shields. So it's kind of a nice like action flow to the combat as well.
Cool. It sounds pretty sweet. So I might have to check that out.
If you don't want to spend $60, go take a 5 finger discount. Talk to a fit girl or go to a Pirate Bay.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Yeah.
hmm,
It's a good plan. Who actually made the game?
So it's one of WB Studio. I think it's Avalanche. They're called.
Hmm.
It's kind of shocking because like if you look at like the games they made before, they were
Mhm.
kind of Avalanche Software, but it's a division of Warner Brothers, right? So it's under the same
Okay.
umbrella as the Mad Max game, the Arkham Asylum game. But
Okay.
let me see if Avalanche has any good games they've made. Avalanche did Gotham Knights. They did
Okay.
Multiverses. They Yeah, and they did the Lego Star Wars Sky. They did Back for Blood as well, which very poorly
Okay.
launched and received game. But mostly they do movie adaptation games, and for some reason they actually did a good job with this one.
That's good to hear. I freaking like Harry Potter. It's friggin' sweet. It's always definitely something I always liked when I was a kid. So pretty pretty neat. Pretty neat.
Yeah, I mean, I would say I would recommend it. It's not gonna blow your mind, but I think it was pretty good.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Very cool. Very cool. I was gonna. Oh shoot. I was gonna say something about what else was happening this week, and I completely forgot. Shit. Dang it. Um. Oh, maybe I'll search for it on YouTube. I'll find it on the internet.
Oh yeah, and then Atomic Heart. I mean, they say it looks like Soviet Bioshock, but whatever. It looks like a fun single player game, and
Mhm. Very nice. Very nice. Uh. Oh yeah, that's right. The the new raid is out. The Pikachu one. So that's cool. Should be fun.
Pikachu.
Yeah, apparently there's a 7-star raid for Scarlet and Violet. It's like just a big, strong Pikachu. I don't know exactly how hard it is compared to like the Greninja one or Charizard or whatever, but
So what
um,
is the type that goes with this Pikachu?
let's see, what is hmm, let's see. Looks like
What's
it's
the what do they call that? The
the Terra type. Yeah, I think this guy. Uh, Is it like a? Can't remember if it was flying or water.
Balloon
Oh,
Pikachu or Surfing Pikachu?
yeah, because they did give like a Terra flying Pikachu out as like one of the things. Chew Pokemon. Let's just do one of them Google thingies. Okay. Yeah, it's
So,
water Terra type, and it's holding a light ball. That's the thing that like
Huh.
Pikachu holds that makes its special attack stronger. I think so. Yeah,
Oh, okay, yes, I know that one. It's not the Electro Ball, right?
right. That's a different one. That does like has a different effect for Pikachu specifically. I think. But yeah, the light ball I think just increases its special attack, something like that. So yeah,
Yeah.
heck yeah, yeah.
All right.
It should be like relatively easy. Just use like I don't know Gastrodon or Clodsire or whatever. I think just like the other,
Have you
just like with the
seen
last.
the Whooper video someone made with the Whopper song?
Wait, no. Hang on,
let me
I want to see this.
let me go find this, and then we'll get back on track. Let me say
Excellent.
Whooper. It's oh, oh my gosh,
Excellent.
someone made a devil Whooper. That's cute.
That's very cute.
Where is the Whooper Whopper? Where they want to pass a bill in California to ban police dogs from biting criminals.
I mean, I
What's the point?
mean, maybe they shouldn't be criminals, and then they won't get bit. I mean, I don't
You
know. That's
know,
just mine.
that seems like the easiest solution, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Have
I
you
mean, that's
guys considered not stealing shit?
yeah. It seems,
Gosh, I hate this.
maybe.
Why can't I find this?
Wait, hang
Okay.
on.
Um, while I wait, is it this on the Whooper Whopper song? No, that's not it. It had a cute little animation and everything. God,
while
whatever.
I finish, what you guys looking about? I just announced my next upcoming piece on Substack. It's gonna be on the first two animated movies I remember watching when I think was four, when I actually watched the entire thing and didn't fall asleep.
What were those films?
The
Yeah,
Prince of Egypt and Scooby Doo on Zombie Island.
Now, the
Prince
Prince
of
of
Egypt.
Egypt. What was that about? That was like
So the
people getting
Prince
out
of
of
Egypt,
Egypt.
Not quite, but the gist is the story of the Exodus. So the
Exodus.
following one of the prophets in the Bible, Moses. You know, he
Somewhere.
was once considered a prince of the Egypt, but it turns out that he was actually born of a Israelite family who was supposed to die because Pharaoh Seth was told of a prophecy that like a firstborn son would be the one that leads the slaves out of Egypt. So he did a dark thing where he literally took all the firstborn sons away from the Israelite slaves and threw them in the river full of the Nile River full of crocodiles.
That seems like a dick move,
that it's a dick move, yeah.
right? Like, I don't know about you, like, Mr. Pharaoh. That's kind of a dick move.
Yeah, so this guy's not so nice. Not so nice, if you can believe it.
Pharaoh guy sounds like a cartoon
No,
villain.
yeah.
It's
Well,
a
yeah,
real
he
piece
doesn't
of
know.
work.
And he raises, and the gist is so Moses eventually gets exiled, and there he finds out his true destiny, and he meets, he actually, finds a burning bush. God commands him to go back and ask Pharaoh to
Oh, you
release,
found it. Thank you, Manuel.
and then his
Oh,
brother
wait.
that
Oh, hold up. A burning bush. Explain.
basically the
Is this
manifestation
like when
of
you get
God.
syphilis? Like, what are we talking about?
No, it
Different
literally
kind
is
of burning.
God. The burning bush.
Like
That's
actual
how.
fire?
Well, it was holy fire. Like he couldn't be harmed by it.
Yeah,
Wait,
it's
wait,
But it
wait,
was
wait,
God,
wait,
burning
wait.
without.
literally God
How do you
talking
start a holy fire?
through
Well,
ethereal means.
Like, you throw like holy water on like gasoline and it lights? Like, how does this work?
Well, the burning bush. It was supposed to be a manifestation of God's appearance to Moses, who commanded him.
Why would he come as a
"You will-"
burning bush?
Well, I mean, that's just the form he chose to manifest.
But what does it mean?
Well, it was a pretty much symbolism of like the eternal flame of life of energy that God provides. And the point is that he tells Moses, "Be the prophet that leads my people out of Egypt," and he agrees. And he comes back to he tries to convince his adopted brother Ramesses II, to release the Israelites from and he refuses and tries to give him double the workload. And Moses warns him, if you don't, you're going to have plagues be sent your way by God. It'll keep getting worse and worse until you relent. Of course, he still refuses, and then the plagues come. And each plague that God sends, it deliberately is done to counter a deity that the Egyptians worship. And of course, Pharaoh refuses. If the crops go bad, the Nile River becomes blood, storms of ice, locusts on the wind. All these plagues are done to they counter an Egyptian god, and the
Wait a minute.
final one.
Why did they send plagues?
Well, God told them, Pharaoh, you must release the Israelites from the captivity, from being slaves. Ramses refused, and
Why?
each time, well, because Ramses was using them to build his empire and his kingdom.
What's wrong with slavery in the context of the Bible?
Well, they
what
had
was that?
already.
Oh, sorry, you broke up for a sec, Ghost.
Oh, is that what's wrong with slavery in the context of the Bible? That's what I'm trying to understand. Is it just the wrong people that you're enslaving, or what? What's the deal?
I mean, it's more complex than that in general, but slavery isn't like a good, right? But there is a thing
Right, but
about
it's
like
like it's like so. But why would he demand they give up all their property? Is what I'm trying to understand.
what
Well,
why the. I'm sorry.
you'd have to get it in. You'd have to read the entire book of Exodus.
No, I know. I just want to understand. Like, what's the reasoning behind give up all your property?
Well, it
Like
wasn't about all of it. It was
It's a
a
lot
matter
of
of.
it. I mean,
the
It's not like they
Exodus
had like
is
a functioning. They had a slave economy. It's like they had like a functioning labor force and serf system set up, right? They use slave labor. I mean, it's a big ask. Like asking you to fundamentally restructure entire society like overnight. Like why would he? Why the fuck would he comply with that? It seems unreasonable. Am I missing something? Like,
I
is this
mean,
supposed to be like more metaphorical? Like what's going on here?
well, obviously I mean, it's just one of those things about obedience to God being pretty
yeah.
important. I mean, obviously, like,
But in the
Pharaoh.
reality of it, though, I mean, like there's real consequences to that, right? It's not as simple as oh, you're all free and everything's gonna be all sunshine and
Well, it's
roses. I mean,
also it's a founding mythology that of the Jewish people as well, the ancient Israelites, and it's sort of a narrative as well of how they came to be. Now, now obviously the Israelites, some of them are descendants of tribes that fought against the Egyptians, and as a consequence of losing were enslaved. Sometimes there were other branches who defeated other groups of the tribes of Israel and sold them to Egypt. There is many complicated narratives that could fit in, and the whole
but
point
I'm
is
just
that
but what I'm
eventually,
saying though is like God's just asking to give up all their property without compensation. Like,
I mean,
there's not. There would be consequences to do that. I mean, you kept
well,
a bunch of people in bondage that you owned, and you released them. Like, it's not like they would just be like, "Oh, thank you. We're gonna go, be happy in the desert." Like, what? What do you do?
I mean,
so what ended up happening was that they moved into Egypt originally because of a famine, and that the pharaoh,
The pharaoh's the monarch, right? Of like that
yeah,
territory,
he's
basically.
and
He owns that land. So what? Did he just say you're all my slaves because you showed up on my land?
well, what happened was they were gathering in numbers, and they were and even though he had a Israelite advisor, um, he became a high official. He became worried of their power, and so he had to. So basically, as feared being overthrown by them, he ordered them enslaved. And this is what I said, that the firstborn male of all the Hebrew children were to be killed and thrown into the Nile River. And one of them, though, was rescued and was adopted by the Pharaoh's family, who named him Moses.
Well, I mean,
And
now that he's killed all their firstborns, of course they would try to overthrow him. Like, it
yeah,
seems
that
like
was
a
sort
good
of the thing.
seems like a reasonable enough reason to overthrow a guy.
Mhm. And
Okay.
so initially, like it was a form of punishment at that point. Obviously the
But they
Israeli
were
people
his
were trying.
property, right? Like he owned them, so he had the right to get rid of their firstborns, I guess.
Well, it was the ancient time of like you owned their labor as well, because well, if you didn't work, you died. This was
Yeah.
ancient time.
I think they just literally owned people at that time. I don't think it was we own your labor. I think no, we own you.
No, it was more around like we own the labor. So
I
Moses,
see.
okay, so the reason and Moses gets exiled is that he kills an Egyptian when he sees them mistreating a slave too much, and then when he reveals his heritage as that of an Israelite, there's a he goes in exile into the town of Midian, marrying the priest's daughter Zipporah of Jero, and then when the pharaoh dies, his adopted brother Moses' adopted brother Ramesses becomes the next pharaoh.
I see. And that's the guy who gets plagued on.
Hmm.
God kills
Eventually,
his
yeah.
firstborn
So
sons too.
after, so the burning bush is recorded in like this is what I meant. It's recorded in the Torah and the Old Testament. The bush was on fire, but it wasn't really consumed by flames. And this was when Moses was appointed by God or Yahweh to lead the Israelites out of Egypt into Canaan. So,
Magical talking bush.
well, in the narrative, obviously, an angel of the Lord is appears on the bush,
Oh,
and
okay. So he sent a agent to tell him to do it,
angel, yeah.
not just like be a voice in his head.
And so that's why God referred them to be. He sent them. Let my people there being have been oppressed by the Egyptians. Like the killing of the firstborn sons was just like way out of line, and because of that, the elders, you must lead them into the area of the Canaan, Hittites, Amorites, Hivits, the other tribes.
All right,
Um,
it's a strange request to give up all your slaves.
yeah.
It's just like I
Well,
don't know.
he said
It's
because of
unreasonable.
their, I had answered their prayers. The Israeli people cried out for someone to
But
save them, and I will.
wouldn't the pharaoh also have prayed to not give up his slaves?
Well, that's the point.
Like
Pharaoh's
how
got
does he decide who's
faith.
better than the other? Like I mean, like hey, please don't upset my whole society. Please God, don't do that. Like when I
I mean, this is the whole thing is like he's the Pharaoh isn't trusting in God, right? I mean, generally the only people that
so if he
um
trusted in God, he could keep his slaves.
well the
No,
whole
he would
thing
ask
is
still to
yeah.
release them. And because, well, like I said, the Pharaoh refuses, and Moses warns them that if you refuse, um, God will send the plagues out and smite Egypt with his wonders. And each plague gets worse and worse. The final one is what did so. Moses knows the final plague is the angel of death is coming. It's going to be the one
Wait,
that,
wait, 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 wait. There's an angel of death.
yes, there is. There's an angel of death.
What does he do? It's like actual death, like Grim Reaper, like he just touching people, killing
Yeah.
them. Like what does it do?
That's well, it literally, yeah. It's basically, how we were talking about the Avada Kedavra curse.
He's like the grim adventures of Billy and Mandy.
Well, some have said that takes the place, but it's some have called the angel of death Thalios or Azrael, Saint Michael the archangel. It is yeah. This is the
Why
final.
is there an angel of death?
Well, this is the person that when someone's time is up, the angel of death comes to their soul and escorts them into the afterlife.
Why does there need to be an angel of death?
Because sometimes souls because people's souls sometimes get lost or trapped on Earth, and they become ghosts or something possibly less pleasant.
But can't God just go get them?
He can, and sometimes he
Why
sends his
doesn't he?
angel. Well, the reason he sent the angel of death as the final plague was, the Israelites were given the warning that they need to get lambs to take a sheep, and with its blood, put them on their entrances,
Need to
on the entrance
ritually murder sheep and rub their blood on the door.
as a form of sacrifice for Passover. The blood would be put on the doors, and that would signify to the angel to skip their house, and don't take this firstborn son.
What if you tried
And
to
then,
put like lamb blood there or like horse blood? Would he be checking like, oh, whoa, 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 buddy, buddy, this is not
I don't
sheep's
I don't
blood.
I don't think you can trick them. That's not.
Okay, well then, like, what if you don't have access to a sheep? I mean, what if it's like, sorry, buddy, we're all out of sheep's blood. Like, are you just fucked?
Sheep.
Like, I'm
I
just
don't. I
like,
don't
sorry,
remember
man,
that
we're
being a
all out of
problem.
sheep today. No sheep. Like, are you just fucked? Or is it assumed everyone had sheep?
I don't remember them saying like, yeah, the Israelites didn't have enough sheep, you know. So I
Well, wouldn't
think that
wouldn't
wasn't
like
an
the
issue.
Egyptians be like, yo, what are you doing with all the sheep? What the fuck, bro? Those are my sheep. I don't know. It seems a bit unreasonable. Like, does that have to be sheep's blood? Can't we do something else? I mean, everyone has sheep. Like, couldn't technically Egyptians have rubbed sheep's blood on their door?
I mean, sure, yeah, I guess they could have
Hey,
technically
couldn't
done
they
that,
have?
but
But you're
The point
saying that
is,
none of the
the final
Israelites were
plague is
like
the angel of
they knew
death.
any generous Egyptian people weren't like, oh, by the way, rub some sheep's blood on your door. You didn't hear it from me. But nah, just let
Well,
him die.
it's fortunate because the angel of death comes to Egypt, and remember how the Pharaoh forced all the Israelites to give up their firstborn
They wanted
son?
some sort of ironic consequences to punish the
Yep.
people of the Pharaoh for the Pharaoh's actions.
Well, that's what happens.
Okay.
The
So yeah,
plague, the final
they're
plague,
guilty
and
for the Pharaoh's actions.
everybody's all the people who either didn't cover their door or something loses their firstborn son,
What if
and
they don't have a
it's
son?
well then it's just the curse doesn't then the angel
So
just
the guy who's
passes
got
over
5
them.
daughters is like, hey, what are you guys all crying about? What the fuck?
Well, and the thing is, Pharaoh's son is the final casualty, and
So he's
it's
guilty
that
for the
revelation.
actions of his father? Man, that's a warped sense of justice.
Well, it's probably. I mean, that's the final plague. I mean,
Well, I was like,
it
what
could be
what what
seen
were
as
the
a form of
Egyptians
judgment.
supposed to do about their pharaoh? I mean, what were you supposed to like? Are we supposed to rise up and overthrow our pharaoh? Like, what are they supposed to do?
No,
What's the
but it's the
lesson?
final plague that finally convinces the Pharaoh to release the Israelites from captivity.
But yeah, they just used
That's
a whole bunch of blood magic to kill all of his sons. I'd release him too. But like, get the fuck out of my land. What the fuck? Get the fuck out of here, you crazy animals. That's what I'd say.
and because of that, and
Okay.
then Moses
So they,
leads
they all
them.
got punished for the pharaoh.
No, the Pharaoh himself got punished as well. He lost his
Yeah, but
firstborn.
everyone else did too. Like the pharaoh can have more sons, okay? The pharaoh can choose any woman on the street and make another son, okay? But your local commoner can't necessarily do that when they're dying at age 30. Like they all suffered a lot more than the pharaoh did. Okay. So that's
Said it.
that's what justice looks like.
Hmm.
That's morally right. Okay. That's a weird story.
So yeah, the first so the 10 plagues that before that first was turning the water to blood, the invasion of the frogs, lice and gnats, wild animals and flies, cheating the livestock, pestilence, boils on people, thunderstorms of hail and fire, locusts on the wind, darkness for 3 days, and the death of the firstborn son.
So this is supposed to convince the pharaoh to be obedient to God.
Well, I mean, the Pharaoh was also mocking him. He's like, "Oh, I never heard of this God, Yahweh. Who is this one? I don't care what his
It's
name.
a
I
foreign
still want
culture invading his culture. I don't really blame him. I mean,
to." Hmm.
Well, I mean,
like he's had hundreds and thousands of years of tradition, and they're just saying your traditions are all fake. Okay, like yeah, I'd
well, no,
probably
I
be
mean,
pretty hostile to that too if someone walked in and did that.
there's obviously in the ancient world, like people believed in all sorts of different stuff. I mean, there was like syncretism and just people all just ascribing to
Various
different
different faiths
beliefs.
out there, yeah.
Right, right. So it's not like he would never have heard of like the God of the Israelites or whatnot. I mean, uh, so it's yeah.
I
I
mean,
mean,
like
it's
I've
not even
heard
weird.
about Scientology. It doesn't mean like like I would know all the intricacies and ins and outs of Scientology. I mean, like
Well, sure, but it's a little bit
oh
different
look,
back in the day.
they're what are they? They're Yahweh people. Oh, okay, whatever. Like I mean, I've got important things to do. I have to manage a kingdom. Okay, I don't have time to study up.
Yeah. Well, anyways, it's typically not a good idea. Don't mock God. And there was the whole like, oh, the thing with the staff and the snake and stuff.
Staff and the
Where
snake. What?
yeah, where the if I remember right, yeah, Moses' staff turns into a snake and it sort of symbolically
Oh, they
or
did that in
literally,
a
I
Rick
guess,
and
eats.
Morty episode. He turned a staff into a snake.
Yeah, that's referencing that event, which It's been a long time since I've read Exodus, but yeah, this is like basically the Moses staff turning into a snake and eating the other snake is symbolic of like the triumph of like God over like the other quote unquote gods of the land. So yeah, there's all sorts of
But
symbolism and things like
in
that.
Exodus, those gods aren't real, right?
Well, no, I mean they're quote unquote real, in some respects, like their actual. I think, from my understanding, is that these are more or less demons generally being worshipped. If these are real things, I mean, some of it could just be like sort of folk religions and not really based off of any particular real thing. But from my understanding, is that the gods of the nations are demons. The other nations, right, that aren't Israel. So
So
they
wait,
are
wait,
real
wait.
in a
So
sense.
they're
Ghost, I would
demons.
recommend you watch this show, even though I know you don't. I don't think you're on the story of Religiously Minded as well as the story of Exodus. But it's a
I don't
great.
know. I
It's
think I've seen it before. I just didn't really remember it.
yeah.
Okay,
Well, to get
so
to
wait. So you're saying that like they're saying that the Greek gods are demons?
yeah, I would say they're probably either they were just humans that people were. They weren't deities that you would think of. Like they weren't. They weren't. We don't think of them as like gods.
Where did they come from though?
People could make up them as stories of legend. Maybe they were notable humans who achieved great feats,
Well,
and
Malwab is implying though that like they're actual demons, and if they're demons, where did demons come from? Are they just all fallen angels or something, or like what's like?
I believe some of them, yeah. I mean, it's hard to say. Like, we don't really know. I mean, what every single is Amaterasu like an actual like fallen angel sort of thing, or is it just like some Japanese myth or whatever that has no basis in reality? Like, I mean, who knows? It's just one of those things. Like, it could be any number of explanations, and they're not, of course, mutually exclusive. So, but yeah, it's some of them are probably just demons. Uh,
Okay, but where did demons come from? That's what I'm trying to understand.
demons are not considered to be human life. They're another form. They're manifestations of
So they're
evil.
like fungi.
I
no,
mean, you could say it like that. They can attach themselves to humans and like fungi and gradually possess them. And
Well,
they take the forms of horned creatures, burnt or blackened,
but who
kind of
made demons though?
who makes demons? Well, demons
Yeah,
are
how do you make
manifestations of
demons?
sin.
Like that something has to make them, right? Like
They're
they
basically
can't come from
supernatural.
nothing, right?
They're basically, malevolent supernatural entities. We've believed in them since the Paleolithic age. I mean, they're
Okay,
not, may or may not be.
but what makes demons? That's what I'm trying to understand.
They're basically minions of the devil. The devil creates demons.
Devil can create things. Not technically life. It's technically something else.
Yeah, something like anti-life.
But angels can create things too.
Yeah, well, yes, it depends. Like, I mean, the word demon comes from the ancient Greek word daemon, which means a spirit or divine power, like, kind of like genius or nomen from Latin. To divide, it comes from the Greek verb diathi, to divide or distribute.
Demons can only be created by angels, I guess. Then.
Sort of. I mean, like I said, the term didn't have any initial evil connotations. Like the word daimonia in Greek means good spiritness or happiness. And of course, when you look at in Christianity, some people have said, let me finish. Let me find this.
Wait, do angels have free will?
So, no, they serve God.
But they don't have free will.
Mm-mm. So yeah, basically demons are
Wait. So you're
routine
saying
as
the devil
higher.
doesn't have free will?
Well, when he defied God and fell, then yeah.
So he
Demons, like I
got
said,
free will when he defied him. So wait, what? So I'm
yeah,
confused.
it's
He doesn't have free will, but he does. What is it?
I believe he's what's the phrase, like he's kind of set in his ways, so to speak, like of always eternally
But
defying
is he or
God.
is he not free? Does he or does he not have free will?
It doesn't there that kind of stuff doesn't
Isn't
work
the
the
whole thing
same
with the
for
devil? He's
angels.
always given the opportunity to say he's sorry,
Well, sure, he can always
right? Doesn't he always have the
repent or
opportunity for
whatever, but
forgiveness, but he chooses not to? So does he have free will or doesn't he?
well, not in this. My understanding is like for angels, it's different. Like they have a, it's not the same as like for humanity, where humans
So what
do
are they
have free
like
will, but do
programmed?
I'm not 100% sure because I don't know enough about this to really say for
This is really
certain. But
confusing because it's like it's all, if angels have free will, then whatever, they do what they want. But like if
yeah,
it's
I couldn't tell you for certain just because like it does work different. Like angels aren't just like ethereal people. Like they're uh different kinds of life, right? So they don't work exactly the same way as like all the stuff that we have, like spiritual sense. So it's they're different. I think they do in some respect, but I don't think it's the same as human free will, where we can like turn to and from God, like whereas like the some of the angels I believe are just when they defy God, I think they are kind of stuck that way. I guess is the best way I can
but
is
if
I
but the thing, Mount Walk. If they didn't have free will and they defied God, then God wanted them to defy Him, right?
oh no, I
No,
mean we don't.
given the choice, you could
But then
choose
they have
not.
free will because they have a choice.
Mm-hmm.
So they do have free will, right?
Yes, and
Otherwise, they
you
couldn't
don't
defy Him,
use your
right?
free will to do evil things.
But I'm just saying, like they couldn't defy Him if they didn't have free will, right?
Yeah, and you get, consequence happens whether you decide to
But the
defy and you
consequence
decide
is
not.
irrelevant.
All right, I think we're getting a little off track.
I don't know.
So
This thing, it's like
the other film you're probably more familiar with is Scooby Doo on Zombie Island.
I've probably seen it once. But
I've
isn't it
never
the
seen it.
isn't it this is the one where it's like they are actually zombies in it, right? Or
Eh, sweet.
Well, it was marketed like this. So to give you a context for why I think it's remembered fondly, Scooby Doo in the 80s was in a bit of a rough patch because most of the gang members of the gang, Freddy, Velma, and Daphne, were gradually dropped from the show because of Scrappy Doo. And if you know your character history, Scrappy Doo is considered to be,
he's the big
probably one of the
villain?
most. Well, yeah, they made him into the villain in the live action movie in 2002, but the reason he's disliked now there's an entire trope called the Scrappy, because he was a character intended to boost ratings, but over time grew to be hated by the fans and others because he basically took over Fred, Fred, Daphne, and Velma's roles. So he became annoying. His personality always clashed with the themes they were going with, and he eventually basically had to be quietly written out of the show.
The villain in the live action film?
Yeah, they made him the bad guy.
He was that's right, he was the bad guy.
Yeah, they made him the antagonist. Let me actually
That's so
let me
weird.
actually um let me read you what it says on the trope page. The scrap um so there are popular characters that have fandoms, but sometimes there's a character who has a hate dump. We call this guy the Scrappy, a character that the audience hates to see. It's not necessarily the character needs to be truly hated. For any character truly to survive themselves, here's what they put for criteria. The first is being unintentionally hated by the audience. Like, there are characters you're supposed to dislike, and the writers make it clear that, um, um, you know, like you're saying, oh, this is the bad guy. You're supposed to hate him. Look how evil he is. You know, examples being like, we all like it when we see characters like Ramsay Bolton, Doris Umbridge, Micah Bell. Like they
I mean,
don't see it
Dolores
in the
Umbridge is not a good character, she's a villain, but like Ramsay Bolton is miles ahead worse than Dolores Umbridge.
Yeah, well, they're not like you're supposed to hate them as the audience member because they're the bad guys, and they're not, but they don't take away from the story. They're supposed to be horribly loathsome people that the audience hates. They don't qualify as a scrappy character.
Same. So they're disliked because they are villains. What's up, TT? T the yellow guy. Okay. I get you. So that's kind of where the Scrappy. So Scrappy. So okay. So about Scooby Doo on Zombie Island.
So what made this one unique was that it was actually, people thought it was better than you thought. Like, so the gist is, the gang had not been together since the late 70s, and the premise is that it actually starts off with a classic Scooby-Doo trope about the Scooby, catching a monster who turns out to be the real estate guy scaring off people from buying the property of the castle. But then it's revealed that was their last case because, well, they just got sick of like having to deal with like all the ghosts and all this, all being people in costumes or using special effects. And they're all adults now. They've all gone their separate ways. Daphne has a show. Velma runs a bookstore. Fred has a job and stuff, and Scooby and Shaggy, they work airport security.
Oh my god, they work at the pre TSA basically.
Yeah, and Scooby Doo. So they get to sniff out contraband food, which they also eat.
See, if Scooby and Shaggy hadn't gotten back together with the gang, they would have stopped 9/11. All right,
That's true. That's true.
That would have been true.
Like seriously, the entire world would be a better place if Scooby and Shaggy had been working airport security at the time of 9/11. They would have caught the terrorists, and we'd be in a completely different world.
Yeah. Raggy, I really don't like the looks of those people in the plane. It's like Scoob, you can't be profiling, man.
You can't profile Scoob.
That's racist, Scoob. Yeah, I get that.
That's a big knife they've got, Raggy.
Oh man, so the premise. So of course they decide to get the gang back together to take a tour because they want to kind of film and try to find places that are supposed to be haunted. They take the mystery. Now, obviously, the places they all go to, turns out that the hauntings are all fake. But then they meet somebody.
I mean, like every Scooby-Doo case, right? There's not actual supernatural. Mm-hmm. It's always just Old Man Jenkins.
Yeah. But then they're given visited by a woman. This is what's very interesting is that they meet there in New Orleans. And the best is that you experience access diversity. It's in Arcadia. They speak a variation of the Bayou accent, the Creole, which Cajun, and I always adore when this accent gets represented because it's not very common you hear it. I mean, outside of Louisiana.
I've seen season 1 of True Detective. Okay, I'm an expert on Cajun accent now.
Yeah. And the whole thing is like, not only was this the first to see the gang back together, and gist is so they have so the two ladies, Simone Lenore and Lena Dupree, along with Jacques, they take them on the bayou where they go to an island called Moonscar. They live on Moonscar Island where they say the place is haunted. And, people are they're skeptical, obviously, but then they see signs there may be something. Like, for example, an apparition appears and it writes, "Get out, beware," on the wall. Daphne and Velma are levitated above. Scooby-Doo and Shaggy look into a mirror that turns out the ghost of a Confederate officer appears, warning them to get away from the island. They look around and they say, wait, this mirror was owned by a ghost, by by somebody named Jackson Pettigrew of the 8th Louisiana Infantry. And they say, oh, there might be some haunting because there was barracks for Union and Confederate soldiers at various points in time on this island. But what ends up happening was, so Scooby and Shaggy, they spend the night. They go. Scooby has conflicts because Simon, the two ladies, they don't like dogs because they like cats, and so
What?
what ends up, yeah, so Scooby kind of is seen as isn't as desirable as others. So when Shaggy and Scooby are off exploring the island, they end up stumbling upon a grave of someone's skeleton. But when nighttime appears, a green light flashes, and then all of a sudden the skeletons gets reanimated into flesh, and they turn out to be zombies. So the zombies actually are real, but the
Oh.
gang doesn't believe them at first. So that's the tagline, was like, this time the monsters are real. Kind of deceptive because Scooby-Doo and Shaggy, like the Scooby-Doo gang they've encountered real supernatural elements before. Several shows,
Really?
even prior to Zombie Island, like 13 Ghosts, the Booze Brothers, so it's happened before. You watch some of these like Hanna-Barbera shows before. The gang has definitely like, been involved in supernatural current, and they've even crossed paths with people like Batman, and in real life, like you ever see like the Scooby-Doo movies from the 70s. Do you ever watch those ghosts? They like had like
I never saw that crossover.
they had tons of crossovers. They had them with the Scooby-Doo, with the Harlem Globetrotters, celebrities at the time.
I
It was,
remember the Harlem Globetrotters episodes. I do
yeah.
remember the Batman crossover. I would have remembered that if I'd seen it.
Mm-hmm.
So
So
oh, you go.
the gist is, so the big twist, so yeah, eventually Velma, there's another couple characters. There's a guy who's constantly fishing for like a giant fish in the bayou. There's a groundskeeper, and Jacques was the ferry driver. Blue Neville is the grounds who's keeping an eye on the place. And so it turns out, yeah, when things get serious, more zombies appear. There are various and it's revealed. So the big twist is that, so I think, the zombies are actually not the villains. They're actually the victims of a curse on the island. It turns out that the Simon and Lena, as well as Jacques, they're actually all basically cat monsters. So you're never gonna believe the ghost. So this
Cat
is
monsters,
the
you say?
yeah. So the backstory is that they've been Lena. They were actually on the island for more than 100 for like a few hundred years, and so they haunt Moonscar Island every night until they're forced to go. When the day comes, they're forced to go back. So what they've been doing is, what has happened is that Lena and were settlers on the island in the 18th century. However, a pirate band led by someone named Morgan Moonscar attacked the settlement and drove them into the waters, where they were eaten by the crocodiles. So yeah, they chased them into the river, and the settlers met a grisly fate. So in response, the two sisters practice magic and witchcraftery and pray to a cat god, or some entity or deity that gives them special powers to transform them into cat monsters. And they ended up taking revenge on the pirates and killing them. And as a curse, not only they stole their life force, they forced them to become zombies. And this goes on until more people arrived and met grisly fates. People who worked plantations, Union and Confederate soldiers, um, people from the 20s, like tourists, unlucky people, really just pretty much it's just anybody. And the whole thing is and the thing is, so they were actually trying to warn the gang that these people were evil and they were trying to scare them off or fight them. And the problem is that, of course, they couldn't tell them that because they were zombies. And eventually, yeah, you could argue Captain Moonscar massacre of the cult caddis settlers indirectly led to Lena and Simone becoming villains. But still, like it's like at that
I
point,
mean,
like
that doesn't mean that they had to go and torture those dead people.
yeah. So the whole thing is like, of course, there's a deadline. It turns out Simone and Lena and Jacques needed to drain the life forces from people at a certain point, otherwise the power goes away and they die for good. And because of this, um, so what happens is Scooby Doo and Shaggy manage to cause enough distraction and ruckus that eventually it's kind of funny is that so they were constructing real voodoo dolls that actually did cause people to like move without their volition and all that. They didn't even construct one for Scooby Doo and Shaggy because, well, they didn't.
They were
They
just a
didn't.
bunch of stoner losers.
Yeah.
I actually I hate to interrupt. We have a box score that came out of the Clippers game today. Yellow Lantern.
A box. Okay, what was it?
I'll tell you what the final score is: 176 to 175.
Whoa! Has
The
that ever happened
halftime
before?
score on this game was 80 to 76.
Wow.
Whoa! Wait, whoa!
That's insane.
80 to
The-
so both.
So there was double.
so-
I'll clarify this. There were 2 overtime periods, right? It was double overtime. But yeah, at halftime it was 80 to 76, and the Kings came back down 4 and won by 1 point.
Wow! So Sacramento. Now I don't
The
follow.
Sacramento Kings are actually good this year. I want to clarify.
I would imagine they were. I know about the Clippers, but I didn't know about the King. I've heard that the Kings were not that good of a team for a very
for the
long
last
time.
few years. You would be absolutely correct, but I think they have the 3rd best record in the West right now.
All right, so hold on. So in the first half, there was 156 points scored.
Yes.
And double overtime, so it was 176 to 175.
Before it was double overtime, the game ended at a 153 to 153 tie in regulation.
So you're telling me that it's so 200 almost 200 points worth of 200 points both sides was scored in the second half, even factoring in double overtime.
Yes.
Gosh. That sounds unprecedented, but
yeah, while I was getting dinner, I was like, "What the fuck? 80 to 76? Like it's the first. That's the end of the first half." yeah, I just thought because I was paying attention. I was like, I wonder what that game ended with. And 176 to 175. Then I also there was a tweet from Ralph Nader, famed consumer advocate, who said. Elon Musk started Tesla with a huge U.S. government welfare grant, and he has taken taxpayers to the cleaners for his factories and for Starlink. He is a gigantic corporate welfare king masquerading as a capitalist businessman. And Elon Musk responded that, Ralph, you are lying. Shame on you. I provided almost all Tesla funding based on proceeds from PayPal from Series A in 2004 until Series C in 2007. In late 2008, I gave Tesla the last money I had. It was that or the company would have died. We closed that funding round at 6 p.m. on Christmas Eve. If we had not closed that round, Tesla would have gone bankrupt 2 days after Christmas. I gave my last money thinking Tesla would probably die, not thinking it would be lucrative. The first meaningful government funding Tesla received was in Q2 2010 from a loan under the Vehicle Efficiency Lending Program. Tesla paid back that loan early with interest.
wow.
Yeah,
So,
I
yeah,
know. Like, imagine accusing someone of being a corporate welfare king, and then he's like, "Hey, by the way, like, I do run my companies. I know when I fucking got my funding. You moron."
Yeah. You don't want to bet. You don't want to attack someone who has the receipts.
Yeah, literally has the receipts. I mean, like,
in a literal sense.
Yeah,
you could maybe have a bigger argument with like Solar City, but Tesla bought that company back. But But
Yeah.
yes, like it's
Yeah, so Ghost, you brought up the fact that apparently it's considered the second highest scoring game in NBA history.
oh, is it?
Once the
Oh,
second,
I didn't
yeah,
know. I just knew it was a ridiculous box score.
it was the second. Yeah, apparently it's the second. Well, what's the highest scoring then? It
How
had to
many
be a
did
Yeah.
how
team.
many points were scored that game Wilt Chamberlain got 100 points in?
Wow,
What's the highest scoring NBA game?
highest scoring 186 to 184. It was
We're
between the
close.
Detroit 100 between the Detroit Pistons and the Denver Nuggets. This one went to triple overtime.
Ah. So if they had gone to another overtime, they might have broken the record.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And no NBA team has ever scored 200 points. It's just I don't think it's possible. I mean, it's in
No, it's
theory,
possible, but it's unlikely.
yeah, in theory it's possible, but like your
People
team would
step off
literally,
the gas, if they get too far ahead. But the reason why these games went so high scoring was that they were close.
yeah, neither team was willing to back down. And it's like nope. Imagine being the team that gives away 20 points of offense to 200 points. You don't want to be no defense would ever like be that would
No one
whatever
wants to be
collapse
the
like that.
Raptors giving up 81 points to Kobe, but someone had to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, rip Kobe.
I know. As an LA,
That
as
was
a LA basketball fan, my whole life, it's always look,
yeah,
it's cool.
yeah. Probably the first ominous sign of what 2020 was going to be like.
I mean, the worst part is it's kind of his fault. Like in some ways, obviously he wasn't the pilot, but they obviously shouldn't have been flying that day. It was windy conditions.
Yeah, it was just a tragedy, and
Got
and
three.
the
He's survived by three daughters and well, two daughters now. Oh God,
oh
no!
yeah,
Oh no, Kobe, no! Oh man,
yeah.
That's crazy.
So
I can't
the
imagine
final
like
is so yeah. The long story short, the final yeah they end up surviving the Jacques Lenore and Simon. They missed their deadline, and because of that, they no longer have any more immortality, and they die a pretty gruesome death. Like they age instantly and become skeletons, and then they dissipate and they're gone. But the final part is that the zombies also disintegrate. They're able to finally rest in peace. There's a funny frame. There's a still frame. The ghost of that Confederate soldier that appeared earlier in the film in the mirror salutes the Scooby Gang and says thank you and dissipates. And people said this is a weird moment in cartoon history. Scooby Doo being saluted by the ghost of a Confederate officer. Whatever.
that's awesome.
Now, I would point out that Indian Bronson made an interesting point about that, is saying that there was that if you look back at Hanna-Barbera's history, well, it's also a little fun fact too, is that there were tons of uh, there were tons of Confederate ghosts and zombies in Scooby Doo. They actually tend to be very friendly or stern, playing the part of monsters in warning off the mystery gang from genuine danger in places they're exploring. And it's actually been established that Scooby Doo and Shaggy are descendants of Confederate soldiers as well.
pretty sure there weren't uniformed dogs in the Confederate Army. I'm sure they
There
used
could have
dogs,
been.
but I don't
No,
think they.
actually, one of Scooby Doo's ancestors literally appears as a
No, no, no.
ghost.
I know. I'm saying in real life, right? Like, isn't the only dog to ever have like a rank in the military Sergeant Stubby, and it wasn't even a real rank, right?
Kind of.
Kind
Um,
of. But yes, I know what you mean. His ancestor fought for the South. I got you.
yeah. And it was a kind of culture, it's kind of weird how this is how Confederates were portrayed in all pop culture until the past decades or so. Vaguely scary guys trapped doing their duty, but deep down you respect them as a fundamentally honorable human. being and probably would have get along with in another life. And I think that's kind of like what people used to portray them as, and the funny part, and I made a meme. There was once about like it- um so like it's kind of like one of the released DVD movies back in the 80s had it was one that did feature Scrappy, but Scrappy was way more tolerable for some where they scoop Shaggy inherits a plantation manor from his uncle Beauregard, who was a Civil War veteran. And I think the Warner Brothers kind of plays loose with it because it's like, well, wait a minute. If this film was set in the 1980s and his uncle just dead, his uncle would have to be like 150 years old or something, and then just pass away.
Well, I mean, son.
Because the last claimed Civil War veteran died in 1957,
Yeah,
and
I think
and the worst,
1957. Didn't the Civil War end in 1865 or did it end in 1869?
well, it ended in 1865. So yeah, the
Five.
veteran was basically
I
like
mean,
115, or like
jeez.
yeah, some veterans lived out. Now, there's been some dispute with this one because they think he may have been embellishing his record. So the last like confirmed Civil War veteran died in 1952. But like there's been unverified claims of like four others who lived until the mid 1950s. And
Yeah, I guess the
um,
1950s makes sense, right? But I mean, like, God, that's a long lifespan.
yeah, more than a centennial. Now, it would have been how I think it would be unrealistic, but imagine the last surviving Civil War veteran lived to see the centennial celebration in 1961. Man, imagine being the veteran of a war that happened 100 years ago.
Pretty ridiculous.
Hmm. Yeah.
100,
So
maybe like
these two
115 or
elements.
so.
So the reason Zombie Island is so beloved is because of the way it reintroduced the franchise to a new generation of people. It was actually not only was it hype and scary, it was better than it should have been. And the animation team that went on to produce four more movies with the same style before the new Scooby Doo Adventures crew took over with its series of movies. But I think what makes I credit this movie for my discovery of like what fear is, you know, my love for like traditional love classics, and I think the best part is, yeah, it's just it still holds up today. I mean, yeah, there was a terrible sequel to this called Return to Zombie Island, which I'll touch on a bit. It's not a it's a bad sequel, and the thing is, imagine. I mean, it's pretty much the worst type of sequel. It's a sequel that makes everything everything good about the original movie. Yeah, pretty much forget about it. It actually tries to undo the movie.
I too have played The Last of Us 2 and
Yeah.
seen episodes 7, 8, and 9.
Ugh. Yeah.
Ugh, we're still not. I don't think we're gonna get to those for a very long time, thankfully.
Yeah, we can. Luckily, it'll be quick when we get to them, right?
Yeah, we'll rag on them. We'll we'll roast the ever living daylights out of them.
It's not about dying to protect the people you love. It's about saving. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you, woman? His speech makes no sense.
Yeah. Those movies. No, thank you.
Oh god.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those
Man,
movies are a mess.
what I mean, just what a miss. What a horrible miss. Like these people just
We
need
are
to.
not so back, Mountain Walk. We thought we were so back, but we're not so back.
Yeah, that's so depressing. Like, it's like, oh man, I hope these new Star Wars films are gonna be great. Man, they haven't made a new one of these in forever. And yeah, and then it was not
Thought
good.
we were so back.
Yeah, and then they just kept being bad. They just like impressively bad. It's I don't know what I did to deserve this, but apparently this feels like it's my fault. Like I did a really bad thing, right? And I'm just being punished along with the rest of humanity. That's just ugh, so terrible.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't understand. I mean, I get it. Like Brian Johnson's a hack and whatever, but like it's just it's like how do you I mean, worse than the prequels? Like how do you screw up that much? How do you screw up
It's
that much? I mean,
impressive.
that's
It's like the scale of the failure is impressive. You
right.
know?
And I mean, it's like a slow moving car crash
Train
except
wreck.
like yeah, except the trains are all on fire and it's like really slow and like it's like every single car on the train is also on fire and also slowly crashing. I mean, it is truly incredible. Like
And then
I mean,
and then JJ comes back at the end to controlled burn. What's there?
oh no.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
the train's going off the rails in 7. It completely derails in 8. And then it's like, "Oh my god, get the guy who was putting the train off the tracks. We need to burn these chemicals off." That's the East Palestine train wreck is a perfect metaphor for Star Wars the sequel trilogy.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so I mean, wow. I don't I mean just it's everything is all these characters are unlikable or stupid and make like
Honestly, I
completely
thought Poe was like the most likable character, and they do nothing with him.
oh
Nothing.
right. That's
He's
right.
like not even like
Yeah.
he's barely in that first film. He has like this really fun escape sequence with Finn, right? And then he's like
Right.
nowhere in the film. Yeah, he blows up the super Death Star, but it's like nope, that's it. We get like nothing from him. And the second film, it's like, oh hey guy that blew up the second Death Star, I can't trust you. Like what the fuck is wrong with you, woman? He blew
Yeah.
up the super Death Star.
Yeah, it's like things happen because the plot says these things
Because
have to
they need
happen.
to for the sake of the plot. It's
Yeah.
terrible.
It's depressing. Like, how can I mean? Yeah, and it's just it's so like, and there's like, oh, we'll just bring back these characters to kill them off. It's just like I don't,
Oh yeah,
I don't.
remembers Luke Skywalker? Well, he died thinking too hard.
Yep, yep.
Oh, and by
That's
the way, it's even worse. In the next film, it's like, oh yeah, your X-wing's there too. You could have literally just flew over there. Yeah, there's a fucking hyperdrive in your fucking X-wing. You could go there.
yeah,
You didn't even have to do that. You could have died in that fight there too. Like it would have been the same result.
it's so stupid. It's just, I mean, it's just incredible. It's just,
It's
I mean, it's yeah,
just rough.
not good, not good.
Very not good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Uh,
So those are the two. Yeah. Funny. I'll write up.
so Scooby
as
Doo
well
on
as the-
Zombie Island and the Prince of Egypt, and you're gonna write an article about it on your Substack.
Yeah, I'm gonna hit both of them.
So these are
And
both
talk
what
about
80s, 70s animation,
90s, late 90s.
late 90s. Okay.
And I'll bring up a few points about what made these films significant, both for me as well as for the people who enjoyed them, as related to their franchise. For example, Prince of Egypt is considered to be DreamWorks' best film. Yes,
No, How to Train Your
Probably-
Dragon is much better. Also,
I mean-
DreamWorks does Shrek too. Like I think Shrek's
I mean,
a
it's,
better
it's
film.
considered to be it's considered the film to like put their name on the map. Let's just say, like it's.
I think what they did before that one.
I mean, they did some good ones too, but I think this one was because it attracted a lot of big names. They actually got like people like 350 people from like 35 different countries to work on this film. It was a pretty big project as well. And yeah, the Shrek franchise is more memorable, and Distributus is not on Twitter, so some people,
But I mean, like, just objectively, like, it spawned its entire own franchise. You know, its box office numbers are higher, and you know, the movie definitely resonated more with audiences, I would say.
yeah, and I still wait. We have a meme, and
I mean, come on, they
there's,
made Mike Myers relevant.
yeah. Um, my favorite part. So I think I had a good. So someone said like the Distributus will never ever make his Shrek videos on the significance of the film. So there's a meme about that. But he's enjoying his Lent and time off as well as some streams, so I commend him for that. All right, what other topics do you want to talk about?
Let's think. I'm trying to think of, like, major events that. Oh, right. Tucker has the January 6th footage.
Oh,
Allegedly, I've heard
Allegedly.
someone said is like it's only one terminal, so it's not in the entire uncut 40,000 hours.
I don't see why it would be a problem letting the public see this footage. I mean, this is a vicious, brutal insurrection. We have to know what it looks like, don't we?
I
Yeah,
think that the people need to know. We need to see
Yeah, I
exactly
think
what
it's.
happened. You know,
Look, I mean, this is
people could have died. They
yeah,
could have
dude.
died.
This is a big deal. You know,
Yeah.
we gotta know what happened, man.
Uh, yeah, you know, it's. I'm really worried about the future of our country. So if we don't get this footage of these
Yeah,
horrible
we've
insurrections,
got to figure this out so there's never another insurrection.
yeah, we really we need to, yeah, we need to fortify the capital or something to make sure everything you know, this never happens again.
Yeah,
So
that's
yeah,
the only way we can do that is if we see what
yeah,
happened and know, you know.
yeah. And if it's a horrible racist like Tucker Carlson that shows us this footage, well, so be it. So be
So
it.
be
You
it. He
know.
must be the vessel. He must be the
Yeah.
vessel by which we save this country from the next insurrection.
Yeah. From boomers. Yeah. Save us from boomers.
Save us from
Protest.
old ladies casually walking around the Capitol building. It's the only way.
So, what footage is it of exactly? Is it like?
According to Yellow Lantern, just one terminal, I guess.
Hmm. Okay. I didn't know there was like
I mean, there's
other
a lot of
footage.
cameras at the Capitol building. I assume it's one of the most, you know, filmed
Right.
buildings in the world, probably.
Yeah. Yeah. You would think that they, yeah, there would be a lot more footage, but I don't know. The only stuff I've seen is like, I think it's people, like it must have been people filming on their phones or whatever. Yeah. So, huh. That's interesting. So did Tucker himself say this, or?
I think he did, but he says his staff is going through it now.
Oh, okay. Wow. All right. So it should be interesting. Huh. Interesting. Let's see. Oh shoot.
Yeah, I mean that'll be interesting to see what the results of that all is. I'm you know.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know what to say because it's the same thing when the Twitter files are all released. Yeah, I mean, we kind of stuff we already know, but the thing is anyone going to hold the people accountable? Because, it's the same thing, like waiting for some authority figure in the room to take charge when really one doesn't exist. There isn't like an accountability mechanism to, get some sort of, punishment and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, the reality of it all is that you know, there we kind of what authority do you appeal to this? That's a good question. I don't think you can. I don't think there is anyone that, it's like U.S. government is in cahoots with these corporations to censor,
Yeah.
interests, and they were paying them. I mean, Well, when you've got what are we at? Is there a 5-10 congressman difference right now or something? Like for control of the House, just
Hmm.
on a
Really?
party basis, and
Okay.
consider a good portion of. If it's only 10 or so, even if you had one whole party in full alignment towards dealing with this, you only have to buy out enough to give you a majority with the other party, right?
Yes, I think so.
Like this is the thing, it's like you only have to buy enough politicians to have a majority that they won't pursue you. Well, actually, really, you only have to buy like one or two, right? People that are in charge. As long as you have them
Yeah,
bought out, they're not going to bring anything or hold,
it's probably
hold them
yeah. You
accountable.
could you could also just I mean, well, I don't know what would be the most the best way to buy politicians. Like, do you want to get like some
Well, I
guy
mean,
from New
also,
York that's always going to
if
be?
you can buy out the executive, right? They're in charge of regulatory action, right? Because
Oh
executive
yeah,
agencies specifically are in charge
right,
of,
right,
they're executing the law. And, well, if the executive branch determines that no, it's in our interest to censor and crush dissent, then, even if Congress, Congress can do studies and make recommendations, but the executive branch is not going to execute these changes on this because it's not their interest to do that. So
yeah,
what we have to do is we have to change the executive, and preferably change the executive as someone with a grudge against these tech companies. I think that would be the best way to go about this.
yeah,
Because right now the executive branch has no incentive to do anything about this.
yeah. Yeah, just yeah.
I mean, if
It's
you're
just one of
asking
those
for like an
things.
actual plan, like that's that's the only plan I see going forward, because it's they're in charge of regulatory action or dealing with corporate power, and as long as we have pro corporate candidates and leaders, well, you know why would we expect them to help us? They serve their constituents, the people that pay them. They're
Yeah,
employees like we are.
yeah, yeah. It's pretty. The fact that it's like any sort of change, like any actual change, has to go through like the bureaucracy, right? The the unelected sort of people that kind of make
The
everything happen,
appointed officials,
right?
chosen, yeah.
Yeah, that just
And
kind of
they, the government generally inclined towards, towards positions that are, supportive to the established entities, right? To the institutions, right? How
yeah,
many politicians of every stripe do you hear going on and on about we must protect our institutions, our sacred institutions? They talk about it like it's their god. It's
right,
like it's our institutions, our precious institutions. Because I mean, it is their god at the end of the day. It's where they hold
right,
any power or authority. So yes, we have the people in government are inclined towards protecting establishments, the institutions. So why would we expect them to change?
yeah, yeah.
I
There's
mean,
no
the
incentive
reality
for
is we have to
them.
change the executive, and then we need our new executive to decide that hey, you're all fired tomorrow, and we're gonna do our we're gonna get to work. Like it's
Yeah, but yeah, that seems extremely unlikely, just because like even people that ostensibly would or should have done that, like Trump or whatever. I mean, all he did
yeah, and
was
then the
surround
problem
himself with
becomes that
neocons.
you have the legislative branch, which is a check on the executive branch, and their check, right, will allow
Right.
them to prevent appointments to these positions. So the idea is that you have to collapse the system first by removing everyone from it, and then force them to let you rebuild it, or just let the system not work at all, and then suffer the consequences. Like, hey, I told you to let me appoint people to take care of this, and you're not letting me do it. You lay the blame at their
Yeah.
feet and let them suffer the consequences. So that's kind of that's the only reasonable path forward. I mean,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
other
And even
paths
that's
involve
just
may involve more lead than talk, and I don't think any of us want that.
yeah. That's obviously yeah clearly a last resort if it even ever does happen or could feasibly happen. But it does. I mean, that's probably the most. I don't see any chance of the system actually being reformed, other than just being extremely difficult, right?
the
You have
the system needs
constitutional
to
things.
be the system needs to be, you know to be kind of broken down. Not full
Right.
societal collapse, but like you have to kind of cut the legs out of the system,
Right.
and
Cut
be
the
like,
head off the
look,
beast.
you've got to you've got to work with me, otherwise, you will have no you'll lose all your power.
Right. Right.
You kind of
Yeah.
have to negotiate like a terrorist with them. You got to be like, look,
Yeah.
I will burn this entire regulatory institution to the ground. All right, you can have some, or you can have some say or no say. Okay, that's your choice.
Yeah. 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 Unfortunately, yeah. The system. I think you're gonna have these kind of like really extreme sort of solutions because the system won't let you change it. There's no incentive for the people in the system to change it. It only just grows and grows and grows and gets more and more power, more and more overreach. So like you're going to have things where like either society does collapse because we're printing funny money, or like a massive war, or like these other big sort of social changes. I mean, you know, events
Like
like
Sam
that
Brin, remember the guy who stole women's underwear? That
no,
guy, that guy was in
no.
charge of our nuclear waste.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this guy, he after the second time he was charged with stealing women's suitcases to steal their clothes. After the
Mhm.
second time he did that, then he was fired. But that guy was in charge of nuclear waste disposal, and shockingly, there was a big uranium fire recently. So
Huh.
Huh.
Oh,
Didn't that guy?
shocking.
Didn't he also get accused of like
He
just
stole
like
like
some kind
some
of
like Nigerian designer's clothes or something, and it was like, what the fuck?
huh.
That's my stuff that you stole.
man? Uh, it's clearly the worst thing he's ever done at this point, right?
But the uranium fire, yes.
No, no, no. Stealing the dress.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. This is These are not. This. I feel like the people that appointed him were like, guys, this will be really funny. Let's put this guy in charge of nuclear waste disposal. Hear me out.
Yeah, that's
But yeah, no, I mean
not
that's the only
the best
path I
plan.
really see forward because there is no there's no King Arthur, okay? There's no
Yeah,
Artoria that's going to roll in and just Excalibur over people, and that's not going to happen. It won't happen.
yeah,
you gotta
yeah.
you
It's
gotta have to just like you need modern problems require modern solutions, basically.
yeah, yeah.
And
It's
honestly, the true answer is I don't think we know what that answer is going to be. I think it'll be something we figure out later. Because
yeah,
I do see the damage being done is not sustainable in the long term. So
right.
I think we'll figure something out. Whether it's horrible or not, I don't know. But I think we'll figure it out.
Yeah,
Well, to wrap the other stories, I'm getting a little tired. Robert Dahl, the
Oh, the
author of
Roald
books,
Dahl, right? The how
yes,
they censored his books, right? You're talking about Charlie and the Chocolate
they
Factory, James and
wrote
the Giant
them.
Peach.
Yeah, Matilda, and they kind of did it a soft censorship by trying to change words around and other things to make it seem less offensive. Well, they got a bunch of pushback. They said no more, and eventually they said, okay, we're not gonna. We'll just publish the other version of this edition versus the original editions from
Folkified.
like.
I think I have a quote for this story. Every record has been destroyed or falsified, every book rewritten, every picture has been repainted, every statue and street building has been renamed, every date has been altered, and the process is continuing day by day and minute by minute. History has stopped. Nothing exists except an endless present in which the party is always right.
yeah.
I don't know. Rewriting a children's book to take out offensive words sounds like that to me. I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
Seems a little. What's the word? Starts with an O. Oh gosh, I can't remember it. Anyways, yeah,
It's a
it's
bit
it's.
a bit Orwellian, maybe.
Oh yes, yes, that one. Yeah, it's. I mean, we're just.
Didn't they take out the
we're
words
just
mother and father? Did they say
It's pretty big.
like person with uterus and person with like what did they? I'm curious what they replaced mother and father with. It was like parent one, parent two.
Who I oh boy, yeah. I mean, it's like I told myself I wouldn't be surprised by any of this crazy stuff, but it's like I keep being surprised. You know, uh, how? I mean, what's next? I mean, I guess everything is next, right? Nothing can be nothing can be what it is. It always has to be, the sort of postmodern, like, oh, we have to critique everything and until everything is, it's nothing,
What
it's
did
meaningless.
Anita Sarkeesian say? Everything is racist, everything is offensive, and you've got to point it all out. And we're
Yeah,
living in her future, Mountain Walk. We
yeah.
could have ended this. We could have
Oh
stopped
no.
this. If
If
we had
only
just done
Gamergate.
Gamergate 2, we would have done
Yeah.
it.
I know. Oh man, if only Sargon. If only he kicked it off. Uh, Yeah.
Sargon, we could have done it. We had just gotten Trump to tweet Gamergate.
If only. If only. Then I know we
Oh,
would have
oh,
been living in the best world.
yep, we would have
Great.
done it. We would have made it. Ralph faking quitting the internet the other day.
Faked it? The hell? What does that
He was
mean?
doing a stream saying it's over the other day.
Maybe it was just a ploy to get more money. It seems more
I
likely.
mean, it worked. Good on him. But
Yeah, he's been doing that a lot to like troll like the A logs and like
Right.
so you're saying when he called his wife a whore at the airport, that was to troll the A-logs too?
they were. I mean, Pantsu and Ralph they were in on the joke, and they even got a few other people to pretend it was going along. And then there's revealed spoilers. We did get kicked off the plane, but we were decided like, you know what? Let's mess with some of our A logs and detractors and create like stories and make a fool out of them
So
when
what
it
you're
turns out.
saying is he's playing 32D underwater interdimensional chess.
Well, I mean, it's more or less people just intended to throw people off. I mean, I think
But
they
he is
do
in
that, and
Mexico, right?
he is. He lives in Yucatan province. Um, yeah, it's actually not a bad place.
No, I
Contrary to
understand there are nice places to live in Mexico, right? Like obviously he's not living in like cartel town or some shit, but like
that would be like the northern parts of the state. The which it's I didn't learn this until recently that the official name of the country is the United Mexican States because it is a federal republic as well.
yeah, I mean that's why they call their state police the federales, right?
Yeah, the national police. Yeah, and I think
Yeah.
it is, and I think contrary to a lot of things, I think as long as you know which areas of Mexico are the hot zones between like cartels and things, it's Mexico's not that bad place to live. In fact, I remember seeing an article like so many people in Mexico City are complaining that we're getting all these
The
foreigners living and
Californians are moving there. Yeah, I've seen that
yeah,
article.
they don't even speak Spanish. What are we supposed to do? I
Yeah,
mean,
I don't
like,
know what that
oh
feels like, my
no,
dude.
yeah,
Californian over here.
what
Don't know what that
how does
feels
that
like, my bro.
yeah, what oh the shoe was on the other foot now.
Don't know how that feels like, buddy. I'm gonna be honest with you. They bring their Starbucks and their lattes and their horrible, horrible, toxic culture here. I just want them to
Mhm.
leave. All the housing prices are going up because they're all coming here. It's so terrible. Uh, hey ho, gringo must go.
Oh no.
Okay, but I still don't understand though. Mexico, really? Like, I don't know. Like, what? Like, does Ralph speak Spanish?
He probably does a little. He's probably picked up a little bit. And like I said, I don't orbit every aspect of his life. I'm not one of the
No,
people like
I
those.
know, I know. That's
And he probably has
mentioned.
friends. He probably has a friend too that can help him translate and learn some of the local slang. I do speak Spanish sometimes too, but it's different. It's not the Latin American variation of it. I speak the European Spanish.
Yeah, I know. It's just
Some people. That's why it could sound a little more proper, refined, kind of than the ones you might hear
doesn't he
from
have
that.
land in America?
There's a couple spots. I mean,
Like I don't get why he doesn't just build himself a nice prop states. Like
well,
that would
it probably has more to do with just wanting to be in a more secluded area and no more of these people like swatting or visiting houses and stuff. It
yeah,
like
but like
I get that. I don't because it's this is where, like I said, it's one thing. You can obviously attract a lot of detractors, and I know that he's made mistakes, he's made errors, and maybe made enemies he shouldn't have. But at the same time, it's the phenomenon where I feel like there's a certain industry of people who go out and try to provoke confrontations and stuff to try to generate stuff. That's why I don't get too involved with this anymore because it's
yeah.
ultimately
I,
not.
I I mean, honestly, I think usually if you ignore these people, they go away.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look at
No.
what's his name, Jesse from Pot Awful. Like, I mean, that guy's still relatively a nobody because most people just ignore him, and he goes away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think you
And
kind of have to
thankfully, like,
starve him.
I just want it, yeah, and I feel like it's because as much as I wish I could go back to the 2018 where everyone was more on friendly terms, I just know it's not happening anytime soon.
Yeah, no,
Or ever.
we can't go back, unfortunately.
No,
Yeah, that's not happening.
I mean,
Want
I
to go
kind of,
back, but we cannot go back.
yeah, you would have to have somebody who would be able to just get them all in a room in person and work out their differences, which, yeah,
But do you
that
think the
that might
beef
not.
is real though?
I would say, yeah, between certain other, like especially if it got personal.
Yeah, I agree
I
with
mean,
that. It
I
seems
mean,
real.
yeah, like I know he's all for wrestling and playing the part of the heel and the show, but sometimes there is like real emotions that go in like feuds and stuff. Because I mean, I know in the age of like hyperrealism simulacra, sometimes it's hard to tell if there's sincerity or if everyone's just irony poisoned.
Irony poison.
Yeah.
When you just view irony basically using it too often, right? And just like everything is
Are
just
you saying we've crossed the irony Rubicon?
irony Rubicon.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's funny.
Hmm. Yeah, enough of that. And it's yeah. I mean, I do wonder sometimes, what if I never became aware of these people? I probably wouldn't have met you guys, but
Yeah,
Probably not.
probably not. Pretty
probably
unlikely.
not.
But
I would have probably done my own. I mostly spend time with the other like dissident rights or just traditional spears of the internet. I recently gave Prudentialist some funny memes for his show with Geo on the digital archipelago because I think they talked about the Achilles Twitter space that happened like a year ago. And I got the meme, a funny Pepe meme that said, "Show me the Colfax."
oh no, oh
Yeah,
no.
do you know what I'm talking about, Ghost?
Carfax?
No, 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 not the before the. So there was a Skyros Achilles fiasco.
Gyrus Achilles? Or Cyrus?
So the Skyro Achilles was the guy's username on Twitter. What ended up the gist of what happened was this was a guy who like styled himself as like the Hellenistic bodybuilder, the type of people that like BAP Twitter likes to lionize, the type of archetype.
Hellenistic bodybuilder?
Yeah, the vitalitism, the nudist bodybuilder, ancient Greek statue kind of like figures. And what ended up happening was it was revealed that he had been dating a girl that, he supposedly proposed a marriage to her and even sent her a ring, but it was all online. Well, turns out that this not only was this like not a real marriage and sham, but it turns out she was actually in a relationship with someone else. And for all the talks about people making, this fear looks
You telling
heavily
me
up.
this guy took his parasocial relationship too far?
That's
Yeah,
never
you
happened
could.
before.
That's putting it mildly.
Yeah.
Um, and he took it to the point where he was basically saying I was married, and then photos come out. The person has a kid, and the kid, you know, this was this fear that also heavily frowns upon mixed race mixing. And turns out that
So
the
they're
girl,
racist. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
So the girl,
Okay.
I mean, well,
I mean, I
I mean,
don't think you
they,
get any clearer than the definition. They're racist. Okay, so
yeah, the
so
racialist.
basically he appealed to a bunch of racists and then dated a woman with a mulatto child. Not the wisest move, right?
Well, it was worse.
Not the
So
best plan.
yeah, so pictures came out, especially one, and it's like you sent this girl a ring, and then all of a sudden it just blew up. Then a massive Twitter space happened. I had just been recovering from coronavirus, and it's like we are going in, and I looked in and I'm like, whoa, there's 1,500 people in this Twitter space. I got to see what's going on, and it was this guy just getting shaken down by all these speakers, and I'm like, oh my god, like what is going on? And it was just, I mean, there were some really important like big people in this Twitter space, like like there was a candidate running for Congress who was listening in. It's like they had, these were people with blue check marks that had blue check like before people could like buy a blue check, you know what I
I
mean?
mean, like Ralph had a blue check mark. It's not the highest bar.
I know, but this was before. Yeah, this was before Elon took over, so the blue check mark was a
Oh,
little bit
okay.
more of like a
Well, I
signifier of,
think what Elon said was that literally anyone could get a blue check mark if they paid the right people or knew the right people.
yeah.
Like basically,
And you
people
can,
used to pay for it anyway.
yeah, but you can all, but like there's also different types of verified. Like company verified gets like a yellow check mark on if you're on the iPhone, or like a gray for like a member of a government. You can personalize it a little bit just to make sure. And so this was this what, like, I didn't catch all of it, but I caught a lot of it, just like the guy being admonished and stuff, and it was something. And of course, then when the war started, the second hand, we got Twitter spaces of people who were live on the ground with explosions going off. Oh my god, you just had to be there to see it.
Real
I
explosions, not fake not fake air raids.
well, they could have been fake, but I
No,
mean,
I
it
know.
was.
Our dear leader went over there, and there was an air raid siren, and there hadn't been one for a whole 10 days. Amazing.
Mhm.
I see.
Yeah. Well,
So a guy who appealed to racists had a mulatto child with his, well, girl who catfished him for a ring had a mulatto
well, it
child,
wasn't
so he
even
got
his.
shit for that.
It wasn't even his kid. That's what I was
No, I
saying. It
know.
was.
No, I get that. But basically, this girl was dating someone else, not him. And
Mm-hmm. Fathered a child that looked nothing like Sky was, and it just yeah, it was
I
just
think
the
the Joker has a clip for this guy. I think it goes, "You get what you fucking deserve for being a retard."
You get what you deserve. Yeah.
Why you don't take parasocial relationships too far, people.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good warning for anyone. Like, these aren't people that you really know and have real relationships with. It's a person you know of. Big difference.
Mhm.
There were many
Supposedly.
chances to not make mistakes. They were all made.
Ugh. Yeah. Yeah.
I see. I see. Geeky, sir. Geeky, how you doing?
I think
Wait, Geeky?
he
Oh
will,
no!
he's been in and out a bit. I don't
Fuck.
know. he was here, and I did hear him. I think
I
he
know,
said
I
the
did hear
same.
him. And I was like, ah, shit, and he is gone. I have to ask you both a question. Have you either of you ever had Korean barbecue as a meal?
Uh, once a while ago, I went with like some of my friends to a Korean barbecue place. It was pretty good. I mean, it was really good, but yeah,
And
but
Yo
it's
Lantern?
been
Uh, what did I have? I'm sorry, I was looking for that. I was looking for that tweet that kind of summarized. It was a bra moment tweet.
No, yeah. Have you ever had Korean barbecue?
Mm, I don't think I have. I've had Thai barbecue, Japanese. I don't think I've had Korean barbecue. Maybe I have, but I just don't remember it.
Try it sometime. It's really good. It's usually an all you can eat setting, and it's just a bunch of different meats that you cook for yourself, and then stuff. You dip it in like spices and salt and other stuff. It's pretty good. That was my day today. I was just like, I didn't eat breakfast or lunch. And I was like, buddy, we better be going to dinner tonight. For fuck's sake, man, I haven't eaten all day.
yeah. That's the kind of the best time to go is like because you can just eat so much.
Well, the
Uh,
worst was like I was like, I'm gonna go reserve a table at this restaurant on Friday at 6 o'clock.
oh, that's
Have you
yeah,
ever
that's a
tried
lot.
to do that? Reserve a fucking table on Friday at 6 o'clock?
Yeah, that seems
A restaurant I wanted to go to had a 2 hour wait time, and I was like, I don't think I can do that.
yeah.
Oh, I was like, I kept there, and I find a place. Like, oh, this place got a 5 minute wait time. I get there, like, oh, lucky you, it's the last fucking table. God damn it. I hate Friday. I fucking hate Friday. It's the worst day to go out and eat. It's terrible. Terrible. Never eat out on Friday. Ever.
Yeah, that's yeah. It's too busy. Doesn't even matter where you are. It's just too busy, and I hate that. So I'm not a
Yeah,
fan.
no, it's pretty terrible. But no, Korean barbecue, very good. Highly recommend. Bulgogi is a good spice for food, and it's good, especially if you're eating healthy like I am. It's like, okay, bring me, bring me all of your meats. Although there was a tragedy this week. They opened the In and Out by the freeway entrance.
Yeah,
Literally, this is worse. This is worse than anything. Because now that freeway entrance is going to be hell with cars backed up in the In and Out drive through.
ugh, yeah. That sounds horrible.
Ah. You know that the meme where it's like Walter White looking out the window yelling, Hank! That's me. That
Yes.
was me looking at the In and Out when it was first built. Hank!
Oh no.
No!
Yeah, that's ugh, not a good place. Not a good place for it. It seems like maybe they didn't think that one through.
Yeah, no, it's terrible.
Oof.
Oh man.
Mm.
Did you find that tweet, Yellow Lantern?
Did you find it?
I'm looking for it. I posted in another Discord.
Oh,
It
okay.
was a. Let's see.
I found the image, Mountain Walk. I'll send it to you.
Excellent. No, no, no. Yeah, yeah. That would be me too. That would be me too.
Yeah.
That's just too freaking brutal. Like that's
It's so hell. Oh,
This this one
Flam.
wasn't.
It looks like Flam got back one of his Twitter accounts. Good for him. He's back on Twitter.
See.
boy.
Minko is back on Twitter. I
Yeah,
mean, I
so
feel like this
was-
is bad for his well being, but I mean, it'll be good for him promoting his stream and whatnot. Uh,
What
all right,
the-
where
let me.
was Mount Walk? Have you watched Bochi the Rock yet? Because I just started watching it.
Oh no, is that any good?
It is pretty good, actually.
Okay, I'll have to.
I'd say that my tagline for Bochi the Rock is that the consequences of K-On! Have been absolutely have been disastrous for the human race.
Yeah. No, that
Isn't
yeah,
it?
that makes you watch K-On! One time and then this shit happens. So yeah.
Yep.
So, if I remember correctly, isn't Hitori, but isn't the show called Hitori Bachi or something?
No. Okay,
And
let me
apparently,
explain. Bochi the Rock is the name of the show. The main character's name is Hitori Goto. The word Hitori Bochi means to be alone. That's why
yeah,
when they give Hitori her nickname, because she's a loner that doesn't have friends, they call her Bochi. Because it's literally Hitori Bochi. They're literally calling her a loner.
yeah. So
that's why it's
a
Bochi the
lot of
Rock.
a lot of anime shows have like characters with punny names or like
Well, yeah, her
names.
name's extra punny too because her name is Hitori, which means like one hand or person, and her sister's name is
Oh, that's
Futari,
right.
which is two persons or two people. So
Mm-hmm.
parents literally named their kids like one person, two person. Yeah, the premise of the show is that like she didn't make any friends in like elementary school, so in middle school she decided I'm gonna start playing guitar and make a whole bunch of friends. And instead of making any friends, she just learned to get really good at playing the guitar and started posting videos of herself playing guitar on the internet. So she's really good at playing guitar on the internet, but like she's terrible at dealing with people.
Well, can't have it all.
That I think a lot of the memes kind of show her like freaking out or not interacting very well.
I don't know. I
I
haven't
just
seen any of the memes
I've
for it.
only seen a couple clips, and I assume.
Held a 5K ring to a random broad. Oof.
Hmm.
$5,000. I mean, is $5,000 really that much for a ring? Like, it's not
Um,
cheap, right? It's not like zirconium or some shit, but like,
yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know. It seems like a lot, but I mean, I don't know, like relatively, like what's the actual like prices of this stuff, but it seems like that's not from what I've heard of other people spending on rings. Doesn't seem like that much.
do you hear what Toriyama Sensei said?
Ooh, no, what he's like?
Toriyama was asked why there are not diverse people in his manga, and he said, "This is a Japanese franchise made by Japanese people for Japanese people. It's not your show, it's ours. The thing people complain about continue to change over time, but Japan's racial demographics do not. They do not live here. Well, I mean, there are some in Harajuku, but in general, no." Toriyama said in a highly controversial interview earlier this month. When questioned about the decision to include Mr. Popo in the show, Toriyama responded, "I love Mr. Popo. He's a hilarious character. But maybe you're right. If I could go back in time, I would write 3 of him into the story to avoid all this drama. Mr. Popo isn't going anywhere."
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty. It's that simple, right? It's just like this is a Japanese show made by Japanese people that don't share Western beliefs. So there you go. I mean, that's Japan is Japan, right? It's
Yeah, I mean, like, well, why would he say anything different? I mean, like, hey, like,
But yeah, that's why it's not diverse because he's not a Westerner. There you go. Pretty simple. So it's always good to see stuff like that.
yeah, I mean,
So,
like, it makes sense. I just love that the article said that Mr. Popo was a racist depiction of black people, and so it's like, I should have drawn 3 Mr. Popos to deal with
Doesn't
this.
sound like I don't know if does it sound like too good to be true that he would write something like that?
This
You
was
know
an
what I
interview
mean?
he had on February 22nd, 2023.
oh really? Okay. Wow. I mean, yeah. In some respects, it's like it's just hopium or whatever that your favorite creators share your same beliefs, but I guess it's like
I mean, like, what are we gonna ask for Ryan Reynolds to be the next Black Panther? Like, come on.
I hope so.
I thought he was gonna play Martin Luther King or something.
Oh, that'd be good.
Or
That'd be
Jackie
good.
Robinson.
Ooh, yeah.
That'd be extra. You imagine that. Imagine, imagine a complete doing like a version of Jackie Robinson's story, but like reversing all the roles.
Yes.
I would watch that. That would be so silly. I'd watch it. Oh.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
Yeah, no, that's not surprising. Toriyama has more money than Sin and can afford to do that.
Yeah, he can pretty much write his own checks and do whatever he wants. I mean, it's Akira Toriyama, so you know, doesn't even matter. Yeah.
Oh
Plus, I
man.
mean, I don't think they cancel people in Japan. I don't know. So
I mean, no, they don't cancel people in Japan. They're surprising because they're a highly collectivized society, but like they don't really people. What happens there is people cancel themselves.
Mm. Well, I mean,
That's not a
it can.
suicide joke, but it also is
We
a
do
suicide joke.
unfortunately see that Japan does have a low birth rate, but at least they're not as bad as like South Korea, which recent
yeah,
data show that they like have
Actually,
0.76.
it's been ticking up. The Spy X family slash they're doing more policies towards encouraging young people to have children. And surprise, surprise, uh,
I mean, it's nowhere near as it used to be before, but I think it's getting above 2 is good enough. Like they have like 2.3 or
I
2.5
don't
kids.
think that it matters how many people you produce. Like I don't think you're like you're obligated to replicate your society. I think your people should be allowed to do what they want. I don't think it's economically sustainable to be below 2, but I mean like dictate how you do it. I mean, if they want to not exist in 100 years, that's their choice.
it's a pretty bad choice to make. I
I
guess
would
people
agree.
are.
I think it's a pretty bad choice, but I don't think we should
Yeah.
impose that decision on them.
I mean, it depends on what you mean by impose. Like if it's just like like these sort of ad campaign kind of things, like
Yeah, and
promoting or
I don't think an ad campaign or making policy that makes it easier for people to have kids. I don't think that's imposing it on people. I think
oh,
that's
okay, yeah,
making
I would
better
say so
conditions
too.
for producing more children. And I think
Yeah,
if you're a government, it makes sense. I mean, that's your future cattle. There, you need more cattle. Like, like
you generally
realistically.
you tend to want your society to stick around. So yeah, I mean, generally,
And
generally
allegedly, you
speaking,
derive power from your people, so you need.
yeah, yeah.
It's like
So I mean,
I like this. I'm saying it's not imposing your will on people to be like, here's money to have babies. Here's benefits to buying houses to have babies. Like it's like, yeah, that seems reasonable. Better allocation of tax money than like what $100 billion to Ukraine or food stamps or that are gonna get
right,
spent at like convenience stores and shit or on cigarettes or other shit. Like.
yeah.
It's like there are money's already being spent efficiently. It's like it might as well spend it on something that's positive.
No, I agree. I totes agree.
See, we don't disagree on everything.
Just
Have babies, damn it! Go watch Spy X Family and have babies, damn it. That's
there you go.
those I believe those were Abe's final words.
Yes, yes, yeah. That's yeah. The Spy X Family is pretty wholesome in some respects, right? So definitely a good
Fiona
thing.
got robbed, my dude.
That's right. Messed up.
It's been pretty
She'll
good.
never get her senpai's attention. Terrible. Oh well.
Terrible.
She's totally insane, which is like, oh my
She's so
god, yes.
insane. I love when she realized like how outclassed she was by Yor without even. It's
Yeah.
just like what the fuck.
Yeah, she's just like, maybe not tennis. Maybe I'll pass. So
Maybe
yeah,
this
that
is
was
a real challenge.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Poor girl. Oh my gosh, yeah, dude. Imagine
You got the
being,
roughest lot in life.
yeah, absolutely. You feel bad for her. You feel bad for her. I mean, obviously she's completely nuts, but I mean,
Oh
you
yeah,
feel
but
bad for her.
what the Yor's not completely nuts.
Oh yeah, she's just autistic. I'm pretty sure she's just autistic and has
What
that
she's
retard
autistic
trend.
and Fiona's Asperger's.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, she's just like a fucking yandere, like insane. But yeah,
I don't know. She's
yeah,
kind of tsundere. She acts cold on the outside, but she's really
mm, yeah,
it's so great. I just love her. It's like, she's going to challenge me again, isn't she? And it's like, oh my gosh, she's finally noticing me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty funny. She's one of the more interesting characters just because she's well, I guess all the characters are just pretty funny. Like her Yora's brother,
Yeah, yours
he's
brother's pretty great.
yeah, um, yeah, and I like the oh gosh, whatever the partner or not really the partner, the guy that's like Scruffy or whatever.
Scruffy hair,
Um,
yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
they always call him Scruffy.
yeah, I think he's pretty sweet as like a straight man. Um, like so that's just watching
Yeah,
him
it was very funny when he was like, I found this girl. She's perfect. You gotta help me, man.
yeah, yeah.
You gotta help me,
It,
bruh.
you gotta help me, bro. Yeah, the whole series is just really great, really great. Just like it's well paced, good writing. I mean, it's got sweet fights. It's got just a lot of really good comedy.
Very wholesome.
Yeah, quite quite good. Definitely one of my favorite recent new anime or manga. So yeah, good stuff.
But yeah, no, now we'll have to wait another 12 months for them to pump out another one.
Is it
Worst
gonna be
part,
that long?
I don't know. I don't even know if they've announced a third. I mean, there is material, but I don't know if there's enough material.
Right. It's
Hold on. What's up, Rorgy? Oh, they do have do they have a release date?
I don't know. I guess let's see.
That is not announced yet. Those monsters.
That's terrible.
Well, Ghost, I'm going to go to bed now. Thanks
All
for
right.
having me
Yellow
on.
Lantern. Next article from Memory Eternalist will be on the Prince of Egypt and Scooby Doo Escape from Zombie Island. I think
No,
Yes.
Scooby Doo on Zombie Island.
on Zombie Island. I was close.
Very close.
Yellow
Yeah.
Lantern. Your insight and input is always very valuable. And again,
Thank you. Now I go back and hopefully after grinding some Apex matches out, I'll start to write articles.
I gotta grind my dailies for the day too. After we,
What rank are you, by the way, in your...
I
I don't know.
didn't even. I'm bronze because I haven't bothered ranking up. A lot of team deathmatch and shit.
I see. You might not be able to do because I'm very close to hitting platinum, and you're not allowed to match people who are like that far away from you in ranks.
Yeah, no, it'll be fine. It's fine.
All right, well, so farewell for now.
Dude,
Farewell
see
for
you
now.
later.
You're not going anywhere.
Well, yeah, well, I'll see you guys next Thursday for the Bad Batch.
Oh yes, we'll continue where we left off at episode 8 of the Bad Batch, season 1.
Mm-hmm.
All right, man. Have a good weekend.
Good night.
See ya.
That was the one, the only, the Yellow Lantern one, and then there were Tour.
And then there were Tour.
That is a cute Whopper animation. I like it.
That was really cute. I've just been watching.
Someone had a better one that they did. I was loving it goes to Paldian Whooper. What's the pink Whooper? Is that Shiny Whooper?
Yes, yeah, that's a shiny Whooper is the pink one, yeah. Which is
Many
great.
Whoopers.
Oh, just so many Whoopers. I mean, I never knew how much I loved Whooper until.
What does
like,
Shiny
probably-
Paldian Whooper look like?
I'm not sure. I guess I could look that shiny.
Also, when are we getting more Paradox Pokemon?
I think probably in the DLC, I'd imagine. Which will,
I demand more.
Yeah, me too.
More!
More. Yeah. I this Pokemon.
Oh,
Day-
the shiny Paldian Whooper just looks like a regular Whooper. That's disappointing.
Oh really? That's annoying. Oh wow, it does. That's not
Disappointed! Now, why is its evolution called Clodsire, not Quagsire?
well because it's because it's brown. I guess. I
Like
think it
dirt?
might yeah. It's just. I think it's just because it's brown. Yeah, I would imagine. because Claude.
Oh my gosh,
Ground
someone
Type.
drew a Wooper, but as Darkrai.
Ooh, that's
Cute.
cute. I want to see
It's
that.
very cute. I'll show you the Wooper cry.
Excellent. Wow, that's absolutely, in some ways, actually more terrifying, uh, but also not terrifying. Very strange. I love it. I love it. That's great. Oh man, yeah, I do. I'm a huge fan of Whooper. I used like the Paldean guy in my first playthrough, and it was just like, oh yeah, this is great. This thing is just so adorable and totally like you can look in the eyes of this creature and you're like, there's no one home. It is so stupid. It is so retarded looking, but that's why I love it. I love it. So
Who
yeah.
wouldn't love Wooper?
I don't know. I don't know. It's just like the longer, like the more Pokemon I play, the more games I play, the more I'm just like looking at all these old Pokemon. I'm like, wow, I really like this guy. This one's ridiculous. This one's stupid. This one's cute. So I don't know. I don't know. I love it. Freaking love it. Love it. Oh yeah. But
Tweeted
anyways,
out
yeah.
about, the new In and Out opening near that freeway entrance. Hank!
Yeah, and In-N-Out's really popular, so it's always just going to be.
Oh, it's the worst.
Yeah.
It's the worst. It's like, hey guys, we make mid burgers. We're going to In and Out at 3 in the morning, my dude. No! Fuck you!
Yeah. All
Apparently
day,
we're having
every
some
day.
sort of storm of the ages in SoCal, and they're literally telling people, do not drive. Do not drive tonight. There's so much wind and rain and shit.
Ooh, wow.
So, of course, I got on the freeway and drove out of town over to get dinner. But, it's like, I'm coming home, and it's like, this is the governor. Please don't drive. Fuck you. I'll drive wherever I want.
That's right. You can't tell me what to do. You're not my boss. You're not my mom.
So yeah, I've done this entire stream from a freeway ditch.
Yeah, that seems like not good. I mean, I know some people, especially like depending on like where you live, like if you only get like a little bit of snow, like and it snows at all, like people are just like completely incapable of.
Oh
like,
no, it's that bad, Mountain Walk. It is.
Yeah.
It's exactly that bad. It's like, oh, what could go? Ah!
Yeah, what could go wrong? Everything. Everything. It's horrible.
2 moments later.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's that is exactly the case.
Yeah.
It's like people, say like people think like, oh, you're from California, you guys must drive really well.
Eh, yeah, not happening. Not happening.
It's
So
it's so bad.
yeah.
Because it's too late.
Oh no.
Oh, it's
no.
so bad, dude. California people drive so bad. We're like, I don't understand, man. Like, I drive good because like, I live with danger, but like,
Right.
I
Yeah, it's
cannot
something.
tell you how many times my stationary car has been hit by people.
That's ridiculous. No, even when in Oregon, like whenever you see someone with like that's driving poorly, it's almost always like someone with a California license plate. So yeah, it's kind of a meme here too. And I mean, it's just true. That's just been my experience. So it's really just it sucks. So sucks. It's ridiculous.
It's
Like
sucks to such a degree that it's just like
so
it's
much
it's
sucking.
undrivable. There's some days where it's just like I'm on the freeway, and it's like fucking terrifying to merge because people are such morons. And like I have one of those cameras, on my like right windshield, my right not windshield, my right mirror that
Right.
like scans my blind spot. And even then, it's still not safe to merge half the time. It's like, okay, wait for it, go. Yeah, you ever have that Mount Walk where you've just like merged, but you close your eyes while you're doing it because you're like, please tell me I didn't fuck up. Have you ever done that? I've done that once or twice, and it's like I think they slowed down, but fuck it.
Yeah.
Usually it only happens when it's like this person behind me is speeding up way more than they should.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
it's very
really don't want to
nerve-wracking.
get rear-ended by these word redacted
Yeah, yeah. It's not, I mean, it's like, come on, people are merging onto the road. Like, this is, you're supposed to. Oh, dude, I can't. It just makes me.
I literally cannot. Like, I cannot. I just,
I literally
I,
cannot.
I even cannot. No, cannot. It's too much.
It's pretty shit. It's pretty shit. So, but
Who would do this?
yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Fucking horrible.
Ah! Yeah, no, it's one of those things that makes me scream. You know, but yes, no, new In and Out. It's like, it's literally 9/11. Like, that's the only way that I can describe this without hyperbole. You know, a new In and Out opening anywhere in your vicinity, on any of your roads, is like actual 9/11. Like, it's that bad.
Yeah.
You have not truly suffered if you've never had an In and Out near somewhere you need to go. It's actually that bad. Like, people are like, oh, In and Out, the food's great. It's like, you have no idea. What hell you have wrought upon this.
Yeah. That's funny.
It's actually that bad. But, you know, they make mid burgers, so, you know.
Everyone loves them. Yeah. It's like, wow, these are.
Yeah,
okay.
everyone won't shut the fuck up about, oh my god, I love In and Out. It's like, come on. Have you ever tried their French fries, Mountain Walk?
Yes, I have.
And what are your
They're
thoughts?
fine.
They're fine, really?
Yeah. I mean, like, I like In and Out. It's good, but like, I mean,
Wait, you think they make French fries that don't taste like steaming piles of ass?
they're fine. Yeah. Like, I mean, maybe I have like a.
Mountain Walk, have you ever known the touch of a woman?
A woman? What's that? I don't even know what those are. Yeah, I mean, maybe I just have pleb taste, whatever. But look, I think it's fine. I think it's, you know, totally decent, right? I mean,
Where's my Pepe leave? Bring me my Pepe leave emote.
no, oh no, get him out. Take his coat.
Take his coat.
Oh no.
This guy.
Yeah.
I like In and Out French fry. What the fuck?
What can I say? What can I say? I like mediocre food, I guess. I mean, it is very overrated. But yeah, I think the fries are fine.
Oh yeah, you know, In and Out is overrated, but their French fries, they're just so bad.
Really?
It's like, it's probably what eating ass tastes like if someone hasn't, like, you know, washed their ass in a while.
Oh.
Like, that's how bad In and Out French fries are.
I mean, like, I think they're to me that is like McDonald's or Burger King.
Whoa! You think you don't like McDonald's French fries, really?
Not really. I mean, they're pretty. I mean, especially like the quality is so random. Like, if they're fresh, like they're obviously a lot better than the shit you're going to get at like 12 at night. But yeah, generally,
Dude,
like, it's
fresh
not good.
Fresh McDonald's French fries right out of the fryer? And you're telling me you're not like, this isn't ambrosia from the gods?
Not really. Not really. You know, I don't really like them. They're just too. They just feel like they don't taste like French fries. They're just too. I don't know. They're too crunchy and weird. Like I don't know. It freaks me out a little bit because it just it doesn't sound. They don't taste or feel like French fries in my head. You know.
That's exactly how I feel about In and Out French fries. They're like soggy and undone. Like, oh, they're.
I don't remember having. Well, obviously, it's also I haven't had In and Out that much, so like I haven't had a bunch of like bad experiences where like obviously I've had like a ton. Of
I have
McDonald's
never had a
and-
good experience with In and Out French fries.
Really?
I was molested by In and Out
You-
French fries at an
Oh,
early
no.
age. It's the only way to describe it. You go there and you're like, oh, this will probably be good, right?
Oh no! It violated your mouth. It's horrible. Absolutely horrible.
You know that South Park where they go and they watch the Indiana Jones movie?
Mhm.
You know, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Yeah, yeah.
That was Indiana. That was In and Out French fries for me.
Oh no, that's pretty bad. That's pretty bad.
Was like, I like French fries. This place has decent burgers. I bet they make great French fries.
And
Got
then,
dark. It
yeah.
got dark.
Really, really quite not good. Not good. Oh man.
I declare your French fries to be beyond mid and a failure.
Beyond mid. Okay. I mean, shit. That's pretty hardcore. Pretty hardcore, but alright.
They've somehow gotten even worse with time.
Oh no. That's not good.
Feel like being forced to eat In-N-Out French fries, that would be how you would actually torture me. I'll never talk! You'll never make me talk! Bring him a whole box of In-N-Out French fries. Oh god, no! Anything but that! Anything but In-N-Out French fries! You can't make me!
Let the hate flow through you. Yeah, that's
You know, in like the Kentucky Fried Movie where it's like, take him to Detroit. No! Not Detroit! Anything but Detroit! That's In-N-Out French fries for me.
wow. That's not good.
To call it anything but not good, you lie. No, they are part of the Rebel Alliance and a traitor. Take them away. They don't have any more references for this, I'm gonna be honest.
That's okay. I mean, that that just makes me like, why? I mean, I just
You're the
can't
first
decide.
heterosexual man I've met that likes In-N-Out French fries.
That's. Oh no! Hey, I did say I didn't know the touch of a woman. I'm like, what's a woman? Yeah, that's is it like a guy? But
Oh no!
it's just, I mean.
What did
I
you
just-
think of what did you think of Yargura?
Oh, all the different girls.
Uh,
The Gyaru one.
Like Yaru, the Gyaru Gura? I thought that was cute.
Yeah, that's pretty cute. Is that like a real one?
No,
Is
no,
she-
no. Someone recolored it.
Oh, okay.
Fun.
That is pretty cute. She looks like a Filipino. Yeah, I mean.
It was both cute and funny at the same time.
It is extremely cute and funny. Yeah, like just all the Gura memes are just great. They're just endlessly like you could just make them whatever. You could just make all sorts of different kind of Gura memes. Like yeah, like all these different Gura sort of character clothes or whatever. It's very cute, very cute. So that's the nice thing
Return
about
to
s-
Gurake.
Yeah.
I just saw that and I thought, oh, that's really cute.
That's really
Mountain
cute,
Walk will
yeah.
need to see this.
I have seen it, and I approve. It's very cute. But yeah, it's getting pretty late for me. It's like 12:30.
Ghost has to go play video games too. So Mountain Walk, Thaddeus T. Mountain Walk, what's your next Magic the Gathering video?
Probably making just a deck tech about probably goblins or something like that. I think is what I'm working on now.
Mountain Walk once again answering the goblin question.
The goblin question. Yeah, we're gonna definitely be talking about the goblin question. Yeah.
Look, he's
Are they-
just saying that 4 copies of a card sounds like a lot, okay? Just saying, 4 copies sounds a little high.
3 copies.
3 copies at most, possibly 2.
Possibly.
4 sounds a little high, okay? And wooden deck boxes, he doesn't know about that,
Yeah, I mean, are those really going to protect your cards? I don't think so. Who? And why is it that the goblins are always there? When you're like, why are these goblins running all the Harry Potter things? I mean, I don't know. Like, it's just kind of.
Well, I mean, goblins are good at making magical, like, silver and stuff, so it kind of makes sense.
Oh, okay. Well then, I guess that is a good.
They have an affinity for precious metals and things.
Yeah. Good. But yeah, probably goblin stuff. And then yeah, just still working on a bunch of random crap. But
What
Really
specific goblin monsters are you talking about?
Probably just like a legacy goblin. So it's basically you have access to every single sort of like goblin card. Because there's a lot of older ones that are really good that weren't printed within the last 20 years. So a lot of newer formats don't get to utilize
Because
some of the
goblins are
older ones.
basically like spam decks, right? Usually horde
Right.
decks.
Yeah.
So they
yeah, you
focus
just-
on putting a lot of creatures, focus a lot on haste, red magic.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. If you really just trying to spam the board.
I
with a lot of
hear
dudes.
there's a white deck called the Goblin Slayer that's all focused on all the
Goblin
unique
Slayer.
ways to study and kill these creatures.
There's actually a legendary creature called like Tivadar, and he's like, when you play him, he like actually literally just says destroy target goblin. So there's literally like anti-goblin cards. There's literally I think it's called Tivadar's Crusade.
It's literally another Goblin Slayer.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's some pretty brutal stuff in some of the early art where it's just like depicting like this goblin like being crucified or something. I don't know. It's pretty fucking weird.
Look, from what we know from the biography that was Goblin Slayer, that goblin probably had it coming.
Well, of course, it is a goblin. Yeah. So I mean, you don't just wake up.
Would
one
there
day
ever
and
be
just
a
wanna
good
kill.
goblin, Mr. Slayer? Perhaps one that never came out of its hole.
That's right. That's great.
He's fair,
I
at
love it.
least. I mean, it's like,
Yeah.
he did think about it. It's like, well,
I guess it is
sure.
possible. Yeah, I love Goblin Slayer. That's well, it's pretty brutal. Like even for me, I'm just like, fuck, dude. But
Yeah, if those are the
it's-
goblins, what are the other monsters like? Are they just like giant
Yeah.
murder machines? Like
I mean, it's,
that's the
I don't know.
trash mobs, right?
Yeah, these are like the joke, right? The joke, like the little oozes from like Dragon Quest or something.
Those are the trash mobs. Like the guy who's like killing dragons. Like, what the fuck is he dealing with?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, are these are these dragons part of like the Third Reich or something? Like, how much worse?
Like,
can you
yeah,
get
how much
than
worse
these
can they get
goblins?
than like than goblins? You know?
Yeah, it's pretty surprising. Like that whole world is. I mean, it's not really.
Well, I mean,
surprising
like the
because
funny
it's,
part is, it's basically just it's D&D. It's D&D, but monster fucking is my fetish. That's the plot of that
Yeah.
world.
Yeah, it's like
I mean, they use spell slots and stuff for the magic, and it's just like,
yeah, it's D&D that like went really dark and way too far, and the DM probably should have reined some stuff in, but yeah, it's yeah, pretty messed up, but anyways, I am sleepy Brian, so I will go ahead and talk to you.
good night, sweet mountain rock. In dreams of Vaporeon, fly thee to thy dreams.
Thanks. Later.
Later, Mountain Rock. The great, the late, the great, the one, the only, the Mountain Rock. All right. What we're gonna do is very simple. I'm gonna finish this battle. I'm gonna close off the Coast to Ghost portion of the stream right here. And then I will return in about 5 minutes, and I'll play some Apex as well as finish up my Hogwarts Legacy. See you all on the flip side. Bye-bye!